10:4-6 et sec, the New Jersey Open Public Meetings Act, announcement is made that notice of this meeting has been provided by the Board Secretary to the Daily Record and Star Ledger, published December 13th, 2018, by stating the time, date, and place of all regularly scheduled meetings, and by filing a copy with the municipal clerk. Nora, would you please call the roll?
Mr. Berkowitz.
Here.
Mr. Jaskowitz.
Here.
Mr. Prasad.
Here.
Mr. Reddy.
Present.
Ms. Snyder.
Here.
Mr. Willens.
Here.
We also have with us Mr. Herniak, the board attorney, Mr. Chadwick, the board planner, and Mr. Holloway, the board engineer.
Thank you. Let's start off with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. At this point in the meeting, is there any member of the public sitting here today that has any business that has yet to be brought up that is not on today's agenda? I hear none and see none. All right, we have some housekeeping to do, and we're going to start off with the approval of the minutes from July 24th, 2019, and minutes of September 18th, 2019.
So moved.
Second, ready.
And all in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Any opposed? Minutes are approved. Next, we go through the resolutions. Mr. Berkowitz, would you like to take that?
Madam Chairman, I move that we approve resolutions for applications 19:37, 19:38, 18:31, and 19:28 as submitted.
Thank you. Do I hear a second?
Second, ready. Yeah.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Minutes are approved.
Resolution.
Excuse me. Now we're going to go through the township scheduled 2020 meetings for the Zoning Board of Adjustment. Take care. Have a great night. The list is before everyone. Does everybody see the list of next year's meetings? Does anybody want to comment or have an issue with it? If not, would somebody make a motion to accept 2020 schedule of meetings for the Zoning Board of Adjustment?
So moved.
Second.
Jaskowitz.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And it carries. All right, we'll get to the cases right now. We're going to start off with De Leon, application 19:42. Can you step up, please? Okay, you're looking for a C variance to
Will both
no,
of you?
not yet. Can I just say what they're looking for? All right, thanks. You're looking for a C variance to construct a new two-story, single-family dwelling with attached garage and open deck with stairs, contrary to section 430-35, columns 10, section 430-10.1.
No, that's not ours.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Good shot.
Just the shed.
Oh, just the shed.
Just the
Okay,
shed.
sorry about that, my mistake. Okay, C variance to construct a shed contrary to 430-35. Did I upset your budget? Are we going over your budget? Right. You can swear them in if you'd like.
Will both of you be testifying? Please both stand, raise your right hand. Do you swear that the testimony you're about to give before this board is true, so help you God? If you could both please state your name and spell it for the record.
Rainier
You
De
can
Leon.
lower your hands, that's fine.
Rainier De Leon, R-A-I-N-I-E-R, space L-E-O.
Ma'am?
Cheryl De Leon, C-H-E-R-Y-L-L, space D-E, space L-E-O-N.
Great, thank you. You can have a seat.
Thank you. So again, to recap, you're looking to construct a shed on your property?
Yes.
All right. And can you tell me a little bit regarding the genesis and the background of this? Is the shed's not there, right? You're going to be constructing it.
The
There's
shed
not
is
an
not
existing shed that you're knocking down and putting up again, correct?
It's
Can
a
you tell
brand
us a
new-
little bit about the project?
So it's a brand new shed. We don't have any shed right now. So we just moved to the house like a year and a half ago or 2 years ago. And our garage is filling up, so we just thought that it's a great thing to have a shed.
What will you be storing in this shed?
Just the regular household stuff.
Mm-hmm. And you said you just moved in? You've been in the house for how long?
Since July of 2017.
2017?
Then-
Do you have any questions, Mr. Hall?
No.
Anybody have any questions?
I'm good.
I'm good too.
I think the point here is that the impervious coverage of the lot applies, which is the more important thing in terms of runoff.
Are there any
I do
drainage
have-
issues on your property?
No, sir.
And no complaints from the neighbors in regards to runoff?
No.
Especially, in back of you is what, a house? And to the side of you is another house, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
You're putting the patio in the far left-hand corner of your property, is that right? On the proposed plan?
No.
No,
I
this
mean-
is
I mean
just
the
a
shed-
shed.
the
The
This is
shed,
just
the
a
shed, yeah.
Yeah, the far right.
And you're okay with footage off the property line, I guess,
Yeah.
right? Okay.
It says 6 feet, right?
6 feet,
Yes.
yep.
6 feet.
Yeah, that's
On both
what's
sides
required.
of
Yeah.
the fence.
Okay. Would you like to sum up your project, or do you feel that you've covered everything?
Well, we haven't actually bought the shed yet.
You haven't bought the shed yet?
Yeah, we haven't bought the shed yet. We're still
Okay.
getting the permit. Then once we get it, we're gonna plan to start the project.
Is there anything else you'd like to add? Okay. Now I'm going to open it up to the floor. Does anybody have any opposition to this project or anything that the applicant has stated at this time? Anybody in favor of this project or this application? I hear none and see none. No additional comment from the board?
Nope.
Okay. Does anybody like to state?
Yeah, I find this
Where
to
they
be
stand
de
on this?
minimis in nature. I help the homeowners have a little extra space, and I'll be voting for it.
Okay. Anybody would like to form a resolution?
I can do it.
Thank you, Mr. Reddy.
Application 19:42, Cheryl D. Leon, 77 Northfield Road, Block 232, Lot 7.01, Zone R4, to issue or grant a C variance to construct a shed contrary to section 430-35 at column 10.
Second, Jaskowitz.
Okay, motion's been made, second. Any other discussion? Nora, call the roll, please.
Mr. Berkowitz.
Yes.
Mr. Jaskowitz.
Yes.
Mr. Prasad.
Yes.
Mr. Reddy.
Yes.
Ms. Snyder.
Yes.
Mr. Willens.
Yes.
Chairman Irakane.
Okay, your
Sorry,
application.
he's not here.
He said yes.
Your variance has been granted and will be memorialized in 2 weeks at our next meeting.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Good night.
Okay. Who's gonna go this one? I see Diane's from the Wise, from the Wise Experience. You good?
Yeah.
Okay. Next case will be application 19:41, Cavaliere. If you want to swear them in, swear them in.
Sir, raise your right hand. Do you swear that the testimony you're about to give before this board shall be the whole truth, so help you God? You could spell your name, please.
Devin Cavaliere, DEVIN,
And you are the owner of the property, Mr. Cavaliere?
Yes.
Okay, have a seat, please.
You're seeking a C variance to legalize river rock around a pool patio. And then I guess river rock as well between your house and your walkway? Is that,
Yep.
okay? Can you tell us a little bit about the project that we're
Yep.
considering legalizing?
Yep. So this was per a previous permit for landscaping and fencing, and there was a deck at that time in the walkway. And the stone was put down at that time. We were unaware it was in violation of the variance.
Can you tell us about this river stone? Is this got any liner under it, or is it just rock on earth?
I believe there's a mesh liner for the weeds.
For weeds, but
Yeah.
the water goes through it.
Yeah. Water's,
So it's not,
tends to go
it's
through.
not stone on concrete, it's
No.
not stone on
Nope.
plastic or anything, it's
It's a mesh.
to keep the
weed-
weeds
Yeah,
out.
from what I understand from my
So,
landscape.
so the water's absorbed by the ground?
So it is rocks, but it is pervious, same as
Yes. Yeah.
total grass. Okay.
That would be my
I
understanding.
think that's the real important thing here, that the impervious really is, it's rocks, but it's not impervious.
Right, that would be that was my understanding.
Not yet. You'll get your chance. Okay, can you go on? So it was
So
a
that was our
violation of the
assumption too.
variance.
Instead of mulch, we put down the stone in that area, just, that's honest, don't have to replace the mulch every year. And, so we were unaware that it was, I guess, we were told it was pervious coverage, so I wouldn't expect it to be. I don't know the code specifically, but,
But this was in addition to the approved variance you received before for the construction of the improvement of your yard, is that correct?
so I
You
wasn't
added more to
aware
it.
of the,
I
landscaping was,
I-
so
I
it was
understood you don't,
included
not
in
aware,
the.
but it does exceed what was approved before that. That's
From
what you're
impervious
hearing.
coverage, that's considered impervious coverage, yes, we didn't consider that in the initial plans.
But,
And then-
but were these in the initial plans when you
No.
saw and received the variance? No.
No.
And so you were told the river stone is not impervious coverage,
Correct,
and now you're told it
Impervious.
is. Now you're told it is.
Or vice versa.
right. We assumed it was pervious, right?
You assume the water could get through.
We assumed the water could get through, now we're being told it's considered impervious coverage,
So,
right?
John, why is that?
It's a zoning issue. You're getting caught up in the language here. I
Right.
think what you really need to know,
That's what it
this
is.
was the question I asked,
Mhm.
does the water go through or not?
Right.
The zoning department is correct. Rocks are impervious.
Right.
But the problem is that they're not tied together and the water goes through.
Okay.
and so,
I think
and so
we're-
this is a court enforcement issue that is the genesis of why you're here, correct?
Yeah, so there was complaints, and the town suggested I go for a variance because it was impervious coverage. I didn't, so I'm
Let's
confused now if it is or
let's
isn't.
expand on the complaints. Do you know
Yes.
what they are?
But the gentleman here could probably.
We'll get to him in a
okay.
second.
All right.
How about in your words?
Just from what the town has called and some of the engineers have come out, just complaints of the work we've done. There's always been water built up on the property line from when we moved in. I don't know why it seems that it's an issue now, so I'm not sure what the reason for the complaints are, but I'm here today to try and, if we were in violation, to clear it up from the impervious coverage standpoint.
So are you saying that the water issues and the runoff were the same prior to
Oh, yeah.
this project
Oh, yeah.
than as after?
Did you get
From here-
complaints beforehand about the water? Or did the
No,
complaints start after
I think I
the?
would be the only one to complain because it's coming from their property onto ours. So no, we didn't get any complaints.
So you're saying neighbors don't get more water because of this? You get more water?
It's my opinion, no.
Okay.
Any more questions from the board?
Yeah, I have some.
Okay.
You're also looking for variances for rear yard and side yard, because this river
Stone.
rock goes right up to the property line in the back.
Correct.
So what's the purpose of the river rock as opposed to just landscaping?
It is landscaping. It was, I don't know, the landscaper said we could put river rock here instead of mulch.
Is there a fence back there?
Yes.
So let me get this straight. When you sought your initial variance,
Yes.
okay, afterwards, when you go back with your drawings, the project just explodes beyond what was approved and everybody was just okay with it?
I don't think it exploded beyond anything that wasn't
What-
approved.
You're asking for you know, a few
You
variances
must have
here.
showed lawn there before, or mulch.
Yeah,
You didn't show a hard
it might have
surface.
been, I don't think we were very specific as to the plantings at that point.
So it was a landscape area as opposed to.
Yeah, it was probably
and
just
now
a,
it became rock.
Yeah,
Okay.
we didn't really specify
Okay.
what the coverage was there. It just wasn't, it wasn't gonna be impervious coverage.
Right. Okay. Any more questions from the board?
Whose choice was this to go from the mulch to the rock? You or the landscaper?
I mean, ultimately mine, I guess it was
That's the
suggested.
answer. That's good.
Yeah,
All right, anybody else?
try not to make
I
those
guess,
kinds of decisions.
how does river rock differ from mulch, other than if maybe it's harder? I mean, is it,
From an impervious coverage standpoint.
From
right?
impervious
The
coverage.
rock is not pervious, but you're saying
Well, we're
underneath.
told it is.
Well, because
Yeah,
it doesn't,
because
it's not a solid platform.
It's going
It
through
runs off of each other into the
into the
ground.
ground, and then the ground absorbs
If there
it.
was a base under it, then there'd be a problem. But the rock itself, in theory, is not
Not.
porous.
But
How's that?
Whatever the water falls on the rock
Confusing.
go into the ground.
Right, it's with seepage.
Right.
Seepage.
It's actually, I would
It's
think,
not a
helps
concrete or
erosion,
anything.
helps water runoff.
He went ahead and did it. Somebody inspected, somebody complained, so. it's not my nose.
All right, that's fine. Okay. Any other questions?
not right now.
Okay. Does anybody else in the audience have any questions of the testimony given by the applicant? Sir, come on in, coming up. And again, please form them in question. Yes, sure, absolutely. Please form them in questions. This is not a time to speak in opposition or in favor of the project just yet. If you can kindly take to the microphone and state your name and spell it and your address.
No, you sit there, I'll sit over there. My name is Frank Onofrio. I have the property behind Mr. Cavaliere.
Mr.
sharing
D'Onofrio,
that-
could you
that
spell your
border.
last name, please?
Onofrio.
Thank you.
I just heard several lies from Mr.
Sir,
Cavaliere.
if you're going to testify,
You got it.
this is not the time to do that. This is for asking questions, and if you're going to testify, we're going to have to put you under oath.
I'd like to be under oath.
Okay.
Well, hold on. On being under oath does not give you the permission right now to speak in opposition of this project yet. This is a time where you're just asking questions
Questions.
based on the testimony that was given to just now.
Okay, question one. Why was this notice sent out to 3 Glen Cove Road instead of 4 Glen Cove Road?
Yeah, I don't know
Why?
the answer to that question.
Who's it from?
Mr. Cavaliere.
Okay.
He was to
he
send
gets-
out-
Excuse me,
So-
he gets a list of the adjoining property owners from the township,
Yes,
and that's the list he has to go
but
under.
that's not the property.
You-
The
you
4 Glen
realize that-
Cove is the property, not 3 Glen Cove.
Well, his property is,
6 Elray,
and your property is?
4 Glen Cove.
Okay. Now, I don't see a property list on the survey, but you have to understand, the applicant comes to the town and pays $10 for the township to give him the list of property owners and their addresses
Yeah, it's right here.
within 200 feet of his house.
Right, and if you
That,
ask Nora,
that's the one, is the list show 3 instead of 4, or
no,
vice
it
versa?
does not.
Yes, 3 Glen Cove Road is on the 200-foot list.
Then how can you tell me that I received it?
Well, if you received
3
it,
probably got.
what do you mean, how can we tell you if you
I've
received
been
it?
told that I received notice of this variance meeting, and the previous one
No.
where you gave him 4 variances.
What we told you is he did what he had to do. His obligation is to send notice.
sounds
And
terrible.
he proved to us that he sent
Listen,
notice.
I would like to read a letter I wrote to the mayor, to the head of engineering, and the head of zoning. That I would like to do. But I don't know if you want me to do that now or later.
No, it's
Here
not.
is the document that he was sent out. Do you want to see it? It says.
We trust you.
Bellato at 3 Glen Cove Road, which is across the street from me. A good 300 yards away from his property. You can't see his property from Bellato's property. Yet it was delivered instead of me.
You never received notice.
You never received notice.
I didn't receive
Okay,
notice
got
of
it,
the first
got it,
one,
got it, got
and
it.
I did not receive notice of this. I got this because Mrs. Villado came over and said, what the heck is this?
You're
Is he within
you're
200
4
feet?
and your last name is Onofrio?
Yes.
Well, that's on the list here.
Yeah, I know, she's told me that already. But here's 3 Glen Cove.
That's on the list too.
How could it be on the list?
It's on the
I
list.
didn't make it up. But
It's
it's on the
not,
list.
it's not a property
The
of.
town makes up the list, it's on the list. Let's not argue
nothing-
about that.
Come on, this is kangaroo court time. You
No.
folks are not listening. This is,
No, you're the one who's
No,
not
you're
listening.
You're not listening.
this is the document that was supposed to be sent by this man to me. He sent it to 3 Glen Cove. I did not receive anything. I did not receive anything for tonight, and I did not receive anything for the first one. None. When I go to Nora, she says, you're on the list, you should have gotten it, or you did get it. It's sent
Yeah, do we have the return
via,
cards?
what's it called? Certified.
Right.
Not return receipt. This document never got to me.
What'd you give it to?
Okay.
I'm getting excited because this is going on for a year and a half with this man.
He doesn't understand.
That's okay. That is the personal is different.
I'm
We
very
deal with
upset,
it.
very, very upset with him.
Please, please, have a patience.
I shall.
So he's talking about his first street neighbors. He doesn't realize
he's-
they're
where's
within it. He is, I guess this one.
Right behind.
He's right behind
I
you.
lost my wife a month and a half ago,
Sorry to
okay? I lost my son in January to cancer.
Touches the property.
This man is giving me unlimited aggravation. I have a pond in my backyard now from him. 115 feet long, 10 feet wide, and 1 foot deep. It's got critters, it's got frogs, it's got mosquitoes, it's got lizards. They're on the property now. I never had that before. That property had a puddle 3 feet by 4 feet, a picture of which I gave to the mayor, the engineering, and the zoning. He was standing in it.
Can I make a suggestion though?
Yes.
The time is gonna come where you're gonna be able to state your case. The board is not listening, nor is it your time to do that. Give it time. They're gonna give you your time. They're gonna give you your time to, yeah.
Okay,
The point here now, you are to be asking this witness questions on his testimony, okay? We understand you have, we understand you have other issues, but right now, just ask him if you have
why
any
didn't you
questions on his
send
testimony.
me the?
Well,
the
wait,
document?
let's wait
Okay,
for them to get.
let's move forward from that.
Okay.
What questions
Why
do you
is
have of
he
him
allowed
regarding the
himself
testimony
to
given
build-
surrounding the project and the variance and application?
Why is he allowed to build a non-porous?
You don't ask questions of me, you ask questions of
I don't want
him.
to look at him. I can't stand
All right,
looking
well,
at him.
again, you ask questions
I
of the
think-
testimony that was given by the applicant.
I think the issue of the notice is critical, and I'll let the board attorney, because I don't think, if the notice is bad, we have to do this all
Yep.
over again anyway. So I think you need to probably have the opportunity to carry this case so that we can be assured the notice is correct. If it isn't, you'll have to redo it. Simple as that.
What's not, was the notice,
There's a question on it.
There's a question whether he actually received the notice.
well, don't we have the
There's
certified?
a question in terms of how the notice, either it was sent out through the mail, whatever happened. It's no point in taking up everybody's time now to sort this out.
Kevin, this is the notice.
Yeah, but that's, where's yours? That's
That's the
the one that got
question.
sent.
Where is
to-
mine?
I know, but
It's probably at the post office, because you didn't pick it up.
Hang on, you two,
No,
hang on. You two.
They leave.
Excuse me.
Hang on.
Ex-
Make a suggestion.
At the post office.
We suspend this
It's
matter.
4, what's your
Allow us
address?
both to stay here and
4
revisit it
Glen
at the
Cove.
end in the
Okay,
interim.
so 4 Glen Cove. I have
Rashad,
official
we're not
notification
making a
of
decision
certified mail.
Because we've got like 8 other cases. I don't know, I say stay this case.
7177
Yeah, I think we should
2652.
carry this case over and figure out the notification issue.
And I'm.
Wait a
I'm
minute,
telling
wait a
you, I
minute.
did not
He
receive
sent
this.
the,
We're not,
officially
I'm
he
not,
sent the letter.
I'm not carrying the case over if well, everything was done appropriately.
Yeah,
This is
All
the
right.
problem that will continue to be, and I follow the appropriate rules and laws,
because we.
and
this
I'm
one didn't get
subject to
picked up,
this.
So, again, they're gonna have to come back anyway.
Can I ask some questions?
Yes, absolutely, Bernie.
So 26,
Mr. Cavaliere, you sent these out return receipt requested?
No.
No. It costs $1
Certified.
more to do that.
certified
Right.
mail.
Oh, because the
attempted-
return receipt is Xed off here.
I know, I think I might have checked that off, unknowing.
So you didn't
before
get
I
back
got-
any green cards?
I got, no.
You-
I got just stamps here, and it says, this one here says, we attempt to deliver your item at 10:39, October 9th, to this address. I guess they leave a notice.
Isn't that all he's required to do?
That's what I'm
But
understanding.
you see, what he's reading is the delivery to 3 Glen Cove.
No,
No, this
I-
is 4.
Oh, come on.
We have both.
We have
What is
both.
this? This
We
is
we have
three
both,
blank-
sir.
No, no, you-
Sir, we've got both.
You're not
Why,
listening.
he hasn't got
We
both.
have both.
Yes, I do. It's right here. This
Li-
is
I have-
number, tracking number.
Are you listening?
It's
You know
getting
what?
out of control.
If you're not gonna listen, you're
Sir?
gonna have to
I-
leave.
I don't want to listen to this because the problem here is, this man is a dishonest man, truly
Okay.
dishonest.
This is a
He
time.
has created a
Stop,
major
stop,
problem.
stop. Okay? This is a time where you ask questions based on the testimony that he's given relative to the project. If
I'm
you're
gonna
not
go
willing
the
to do
county
that,
with this.
sit back to your seat.
No, I'm leaving. I'm going to the county with this.
Then this ends here.
You.
We can't keep doing this.
This
I'm
man
going
is
through the
All right, stop,
process.
stop.
He's a dishonest man.
There's nothing I'm saying is.
You're a liar.
Am I just carrying this?
I think you just carried over.
All right. Just carry over to your.
I think you gotta let the attorney have the opportunity
Yep.
to review the file.
All right, we're gonna have the
make sure
attorney
the
have the
notice is
opportunity to
correct.
review to see
Yeah, I think I know what
that
went
we are
happened.
copacetic with all the notification. What do
I
you think
mean,
happened?
well, he has a certified receipts for both addresses. So I'm guessing the one to number 3 Glen Cove was received.
It was.
The one to number 4, it sounds like he got notice of it but never signed for it, so went back unclaimed.
So why does it, if we have that, why does he have to wait?
Yeah,
He doesn't.
I have that
I
right
think-
here.
I think these are in good shape.
I have these tracking right here, saying it was left.
The gentleman is wrong, but he didn't want to listen to the fact that he was
Yeah,
wrong.
Right.
exactly.
And he might have a case, but he's got to wait his turn to state it.
I still think we should
There's no
stay this
case.
case.
I
I don't think it's fair to him.
Huh?
I don't think it's fair to him.
Yeah, why should I have to go through this process?
Well,
We'll just go with it.
Yeah. No, we have
I don't
to
think
fax.
you can.
If he satisfies the board based upon his testimony.
And he has. And we'll-
Well, I think the proof is there.
Query the board members to make sure that everybody on the board is satisfied with his explanation for the payment of it.
You wanna look at it?
Is satisfied with the requirements of the code.
Okay. All right.
Member on the board opportunity to raise this issue.
All right, so we'll just poll the board. All right, so at this time, we're gonna just poll the board to make sure that everybody here is satisfied, that the applicant has met all requirements under his responsibility relative to this application for variance.
I'm comfortable.
Okay, so let's do it. Do we do it in a roll call fashion?
All right, is
I
he
mean,
done testifying?
Yeah,
Going
are
back
you
to the
finished? Would
application
you like
itself?
anything else to add?
I don't have anything else to add.
All right, does anybody
I mean,
else
other
have
than the-
any questions of the testimony given by this applicant at this time? I hear none.
Well, I
is-
have some questions now.
Okay, go ahead.
How long has the pool been there?
Pool has been there 2 years?
How long have you been there?
6 years? 6 years.
So you put the pool in?
Yeah.
Did you need a variance to put the pool in?
Variance?
You didn't come here to put the pool in, did you?
Yeah. No,
You
now
just
we
came
need a
here for
variance
the,
for the
you just
pool.
came here for the deck?
The deck and the patio.
Patio, okay.
Yeah, the pool was within the variance limit.
All right. So I guess, at the time you put the deck and the patio in, you were unaware of what kind of landscaping you were going to be doing around the pool and around your house?
Yeah, that's true.
Now, did you have any other landscaping around your house other than the River Rock? Before the River Rock?
Before the River Rock?
Yeah.
Minimal.
Okay. And the River Rock by the pool goes to your fence?
So this is the list.
How high is the
He's
fence?
supposed to send her.
What is it?
4 feet or 6 feet?
She's checked off that everybody's got
And before you put the River Rock in, between the pool and the fence, what was there?
Well, we didn't have a fence. So we just
Well, so
trash.
between the pool and your property line, what was there?
It was just grass, dirt.
So, and then say after you put the pool in, is that when the fence was put in, or?
Yeah.
Now, are you aware of any water standing on your neighbor's property, the gentleman who was just here?
Yeah, since we moved in, there's been that water there from runoff of his property. His property pitches down, and all his leaders come out the back. I mean, listen. I
Has the
don't- I
town
don't know if
engineer
they-
been to see your property?
Yeah, I mean, the
What's he
engineer
say?
came out for the pool. We didn't change anything.
So the
or
slope
increase-
of the backyard did not change,
No.
even with the addition to the pool?
No.
Nothing. And do you remember if, before the pool was put in, whether if he had water there or not?
Yeah, he had water there. Listen, he's not easy gonna deny it, but he used to, because we were friendly, I helped him cut down trees. And he said kids used to ice skate back there because it froze and turned into an ice skating rink in the, 70s or whatever. It was there when we moved in. Well, it's like, oh, it's down, there's red water. I'm like,
Well,
"Ah,
as
I
far
don't
as you
wanna
can
cause
tell,
trouble."
since you moved in, and since you've done the construction, it hasn't gotten worse.
No.
But when the complaint was filed, the township engineer came out and did agree that you had exceeded your impervious coverage limitations.
I
Is that
think,
correct?
yeah, I think we should get a report
Not
from the
really.
engineer.
They came out and said, it was built according to plans. They didn't
For the
really,
decision.
Raise
That
any-
doesn't make sense.
they didn't, they came out several times. And I think he's just, I don't know, he's complained so much that they came up with this impervious coverage.
Well, I have to say, Madam Chairman, right now,
Yes, engineer report.
Madam Chair, I challenge tonight to
Yep.
approve this application. I find it difficult to do with the witness of the other opposing person here with some unclarities. I would suggest we carry this case
Yep.
until we can get some clarity on a couple of those issues with our attorney and the engineer
Yeah.
and a few other issues before we would approve this variance as written tonight.
Yeah, I agree, Mr. Willens. At the very least, and Mr. Berkowitz brought this up as well, we need an engineer's report around all of this. At
So
least, at the
engineers
very
have-
least.
Engineers have been out and
I-
have reported
I-
on this incident.
Okay,
Well,
we
but-
wanna
so
see
he
the
must have
report.
some notes
This is a
and record having
conversation
been there.
between the board, it's not being addressed to you.
Okay, I
You
just
better
wanna.
be quiet right now.
What's that?
You need to be quiet right now.
Well, how about our engineers? Our engineers report. That's what I'm asking for, our engineers report, right?
No, the town engineer's been to the scene, so we need to.
We need his
I think
report.
we need a report of what
That's
he
what- yeah.
found.
Right, exactly.
So
That's what I want. That's what I want.
The
Mr.
township's
Berkowitz.
engineer.
Yeah,
We don't
I
have
don't
that.
want his engineer.
I can't vote on
I don't
this
have
without
it.
that.
No, don't worry about it, we're not asking you for it.
Uh,
Okay, so
Does Laura have another date, or can we just put it 2 weeks, or what?
just carry it. Nora, when's the next date or availability to hear this again?
I hate to say this, December 18th. December 18th.
Doesn't
What was
matter,
it?
everything's done already.
What was the date?
December
December
18th.
18th.
Everything's done already, he's not waiting to do any work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I
legalize
challenge
it.
it to approve or disapprove the variance.
Okay, and then in addition to that, during this time, I would like you to renotice for, what's the address? Glen
For
Cove.
Glen Cove.
Renotice just for Glen Cove.
Would you suggest a return receipt requested?
I would, frankly,
Oh,
based on,
May I make a suggestion?
Sure.
If you send it regular and certified return receipt, and it comes back unclaimed, then the regular is proven to have been received.
Mhm.
Do you understand that?
Either way. Nora, did we get a tape?
Two stamps instead of one.
Just put an
December
extra
18th.
stamp.
December
Extra
18th.
stamp,
December 18th.
Okay, thank
put
you.
it in,
December 18th.
I'm confused.
The board is carrying the matter until it has an opportunity to review the township engineer's report. The new date is December 18, 2019, and in the interim, he is to serve notice of the new date on 4 Glencoe Road, both regular mail and certified mail return receipt request.
Yes. Okay. So that's what we're gonna basically do here. We're gonna be carrying your case to December 18th. As a matter of fact, let me steal your notes. December 18th, at which point in time, we will be receiving the township's engineer report on your project, with you renoticing for Glen Cove Road, return receipt requested, with a simultaneous regular mail send-out. Do you understand what I mean?
It'll cost you $7.
Return receipt requested.
Yes.
And what does that give? What does that give that thing that you guys don't have now for?
So that is,
Well,
That'll
that-
give us, excuse me, that'll give us proof of receipt from the resident that was here today saying he was not noticed. It basically helps you, sir.
But you had to send two, one regular and one certified.
One regular. The regular's not. You're not gonna know anything about the regular though.
No, but the fact
No,
that he doesn't
just-
pick up the certified
He'll get the regular.
means that he was noticed.
Return receipt. Certified and one
when you
regular.
send something certified mail, you can take the additional step of asking a return receipt
Yeah.
to be requested. That's the green card.
Yeah, it's just another $4 a thing, so I didn't.
Well, we're staying your case anyway, so I think it would be
I'm
most
just-
efficient to do
I'm
this.
just suggesting why I
all
didn't do
right?
it for the first 30 if it wasn't required.
It'll cost you $7.
We're trying to progress your case as quickly and efficiently as possible,
I
sir.
appreciate that, but I've also been going through the proper steps.
I understand that, but you have a project that went beyond its original variance, all right? So you're back here again.
I'm still unclear as to whether that is that a.
We want to see the township engineer's report.
Impervious
That's
coverage?
really the primary reason why we're staying your case.
That's why you're here.
Okay? That's why you're here, and that's why we're staying your case until December 18th.
Because of the engineering report.
Exactly. Can I have a motion?
So moved.
Second, Berkowitz.
Second.
Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Nora, please call the roll.
Yeah, okay.
Sorry
Mr.
about that.
Berkowitz?
No problem.
Mr. Berkowitz?
Yes.
Mr. Jaskowitz?
Yes.
Mr. Prasad? Yes. Mr. Reddy?
Yes.
Ms. Snyder?
Yes.
Mr. Willens?
Yes.
Okay. So your case is, again, stayed until December 18th. No notice to everyone you've noticed so far is required except for Glen Cove Road with return receipt requested via certified with a, simultaneous send out regular mail. That's it. Next case.
Do you have any questions about what it is that the board is going to be looking for you to do between now and the 18th?
I think it's just the mail, nothing to, I don't need to, you guys will talk with the town engineers to get what you guys need. Will there be any communication with me if you don't have information from them that you should have, or in
Or just call-
preparation to
You
this?
may want to call Nora before the meeting and make sure we got the engineer's report.
You might want to read
And
it
this is the
too.
engineer's report for the pool installation, or for? what's the
He's really
engineer's
going out
report?
to look at the conditions of the
Apparently
property
he was-
as
Conditions of
it
your
exists.
property.
When they went out for this claim.
Yeah,
The
yes.
report
For
that
the
they
violation.
provided.
Yeah, he's already, you say he's already been there, so we need to know what he saw and found, and he's just got to tell us. He's not going to come here and just send us a
And from what I'm aware, there was no sightings or findings from what they have told me. Would I be able to,
You can call the engineer and ask him. He'll tell you what he has in his file.
okay,
And
so I
that's what he's gonna-
understand what you guys looking at compared to
Yeah,
what we're
exactly.
gonna be discussing
Yeah,
on
you
that
got as much
day.
right to see it as we do.
Okay.
All right, thank you. Next case, application 19:40, Ji Wang, Vale Road. Is she going to testify?
What is going on here with this?
She's going to testify? Okay.
Yeah, just book it.
Certainly. Okay. Hi. If you could both raise your hand, please. Right hand up. Is she going to testify? Everybody's going to testify? Okay. All righty.
Please raise your right hands. Do you swear that the testimony you're about to give before this board shall be the whole truth, so help you God? If you could please spell each of your names for me. A little louder, sir. W-O-N-G? A-N-G. Ma'am?
Weary Wang, L-Y-R-I-E, Weary Wang, W-A-N-G. 11 H-U-A-N-W-A-N-G.
Okay. You can have a seat. Get comfortable, please.
And who owns the property out of the three of you?
Oh, okay. My name.
You're the owner of the property? Okay. No, no.
No, is it your name only on the deed? Are you the only owner of this property? Okay, please sit down, have a seat. Okay, so you're looking to construct a shed, deck expansion, and patio expansion. Can you tell us a little bit about this project, sir? And speak into the microphone as well.
Yes, okay. We bought this property at 2003. At 2015, and we never done any work since we're moving about the yard and patio, anything,
Would
nothing
you speak
else.
into the mic, please?
you gotta
I
speak
can't
a little
hear
You
you.
can speak a little
Is
louder.
Look
this,
closer to you.
on or?
No, it's on. You just gotta speak a
Okay,
little
yeah,
louder.
closer. Okay. We
There you go.
we bought the property in 2003, and we've been living there since. Okay, and but since we bought the property, we probably have about 10 years that the yard is in the usable condition, but the water, the how you call that, the underwater, the water just getting higher. Basically, all my backyard are mud, including all the grass area, all the from my house walk to the pool, and also the pool liner every year is when I open the pool is floating because the water. So in 2015, I hired a contractor who did a patio, which is the patio around the pool and also the patio between the house and to the pool. And we also redo the pool liner. That's replace the liner. That's what we. That's all the work we did, and we have no idea that whether that's need a permit. The contract told us that he will get a permit if necessary. So the project actually was done on 2015.
When was the
And-
pool put in?
I'm sorry?
When was the pool put in?
The pool, we bought as it is.
The pool was there in 2003?
Yes. The pool, we never touched the pool.
With the
All-
patio, with the patio around it?
With the patio around it, but not as big. And also, when I find out this year that was not being, permit was not being applied. So I went to the zoning department to apply for the, permit. And I was told that the partial of that patio actually was not permitted. But that partial of the patio was done when we actually bought the house. So in other words, whatever shows here is not all done by us. There's a partial of that was pre-existing
There was a
as well.
pre-existing nonconformity, and it shows up in the zoning report. What is the nature of this new patio?
What material is it? What's the name? How's it built?
It, how do you call that? Stone? No, it's not concrete.
Pavers?
Pavers, yes.
What do they sit on? What do they sit on? They sit on concrete? They sit on?
No, sit on the gravel, the grass and gravel
They
and.
put gravel down, then they
Yeah,
put
yeah,
the,
yeah.
They put the pavers down.
Yes.
They grout them.
Yes. Do I have pictures?
What's the deck? How's the deck constructed? Is that have
The deck has not been constructed.
Deck is
Because
not
that's
there.
the plan for years, never done. Since we have to go through this, then I add an application to build the deck.
What prompted you to go to the town to find out about this permit process that never took place?
I'm sorry,
Somebody-
what's the question?
Did somebody come to you from
Oh,
the
yeah,
town
there's
and
the police officer put his business card on my door.
Okay. And I mean, he left a message there saying why, of course, no?
Yeah, please call me. So I called, and he said, did you get a permit for the patio you did? I said no. Then so you need a permit. So I went to the zoning.
Okay.
So you did, the patio's in?
Yeah.
Yes,
Okay. And that patio is, adds additional 20-some% of impervious coverage according to the report we're looking at here. 2,000 square feet bigger than the existing patio originally?
that square footage actually is, we didn't build that much because there's a partial of that was pre-built, but it was not on the permit. This is even before we bought the property.
I understand that part.
Right, and also the police officer also explained to me saying, you know, if that your previous owner didn't do that and you bought it, you didn't. That's on you. So.
Yeah, it is.
That's,
So right now, you bought the house,
Mhm.
you had a pool, you had a patio. You replaced the liner, and at the same time, you improved the patio size, or changed
Yes.
the patio size.
Mhm.
Okay, so you didn't get any permits to do any of that? Okay, that's not what
Yes.
you're here for now, okay?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
You're not here to get an approval for your pool liner, you're here because your impervious coverage, the size of the patio you put in, is quite a bit
Off the charts.
off the chart in violation of our zoning laws, okay? You can't have that big of a patio impervious coverage on the lot size you have. That's why you're here. You understand that?
Yes.
So we understand you bought it, but that doesn't deal with this issue. You bought it and then exacerbated the problem by adding additional impervious coverage. Now you want us to approve that. That's what we have to wrestle with, okay?
Yes.
Okay.
And then in addition to that, we are looking at pictures that shows water problems already in your backyard.
Yes. The water. The reason we do that is
The mud.
because the water, the mud problems. Actually this again.
An
This.
expanded patio doesn't help that.
I'm sorry.
An expanded patio doesn't help that.
Is help because there's is
No,
no.
I don't see
It's
it.
a stone. There's no
In the same
mud.
boat. You know what? We're gonna save you some time because we need to see the engineer's report on this. I don't have it. Does anybody else have it in there? In the
Why don't we
packet?
have
Who
it?
took these pictures? Do we know?
I don't know. Who took these pictures?
Code enforcement.
Code enforcement. I did know that. Yeah, and the police officer you're referring to is most likely the code enforcement officer.
Right.
With the business card. Okay. So it's not police.
I think we need testimony from the person who took these pictures.
Yeah, we could request that as well. Yeah, get this enforcement officer in here too to speak to this.
It's Mike Rugier.
Mike Regier.
Yeah, Mike was there. He's gonna-
Yep.
The amount of coverage on this lot needs some engineering analysis to see what's going on. You can't just run the water off this property.
Run the water. What do you?
You
it's gotta go somewhere.
basically made your backyard
A lake.
impervious.
Meaning
No, I
the water
didn't.
sits there and doesn't go into the
You
ground
just told
naturally.
me that the patio is paver blocks grouted. That means the water's gonna have to run off that entire surface. And you went right to the edge of your property. So the engineer needs to advise this board how to deal with that situation if you can. And that's what we need to know. It's only fair to you, it's only fair to the board.
I'm confused.
Okay,
Okay.
if the engineer can help you come to a solution how you could fix what you've done so that you're not in violation of the code, okay?
Well, it'll be in violation.
Well, for
Well,
something that is
our
acceptable.
only problem that we had before was the whole yard is muddy, so we can't even use them. That's why we put a patio on that. So
Yeah,
But
an
that doesn't
expanded
mean
patio
you could
doesn't
go and
help
fix
that.
it to your standards.
Yes.
You have to fix it to the code standards. It might make it better for for you that there's no mud, but it creates other problems, and you exceeded. So the whole issue is where the water goes.
Right.
That's what we're concerned about, where the water goes. There's a natural process. Impervious means the water goes through the ground and passes through and goes down. When you blacktop it or concrete it or make it where the water can't go
there's
anywhere,
no concrete.
No, no,
Wha-
we
whatever
got
the product, if it's pavers that are
It's still
sealed,
pavers.
it's the same thing, so that the water just sits around the edges or goes to a neighbor or whatever. So that is the issue. So that's why the board wants the engineer to come. He's gonna look, he saw what happened, and he's gonna tell us if there is a fix to this problem and what it might be. You can't just make your condition better without in regard for what the variances are. Is that fair to say?
Yep, that is spot on. So Nora, when's our next date? Excuse me. What?
We are neighbors, and we'd like to participate, since we did come, before you reschedule. You get the information from your engineer, but we'd like to participate in
Well,
our questions.
I understand that, but we're not getting that far, because we would like to have more information to guide what our action is ultimately going to be. So we're gonna stay this case to another date, and you're more than welcome to attend at that time, and we'll be more than glad to hear from you. But I'm not gonna go through all the questions when we still have yet to see an engineer's report.
Right now, we're not gonna vote on this
We're not
case
voting
today.
on it, so
It may be only fair for us to.
it'll be just as fair for you to attend the date that we stay this case to, and we'll be more than happy to hear from you. These applicants haven't made a thorough application anyway, testimony anyway, for you to ask questions from. So we are going to stay the case with the condition that we want to see the engineer's report and have the code enforcer also here at that time.
Would you also get the reports from the police department on other complaints that, like their dogs?
Absolutely. If it's
that the
relevant,
police-
we'll look at it.
The police, there was problems with their dogs making
Okay.
noise. The police had to ask them, the dogs were jumping over the
That's,
fence.
okay,
No,
that's
they're
well
not,
within.
they're not really
no?
relevant to this.
Well, if they're planning on adding things to the property, we wanna make sure the dogs aren't gonna be out there.
This is, this is not the body to hear all that stuff, all right? We're here on the zoning issues.
will be built.
Nora, what's the date? Stop, okay?
December 18th.
December 18th? Okay.
Same day.
So, again, a motion to stay this, I'll entertain a motion to stay this case to December 18th. And then, of course, with the township engineer's report, as well as the code enforcer present to speak to the variance. I don't think so. No, I don't think so. We need the township to start representing its cause here. Okay, nobody is requiring anything from the applicants, correct? Hold, sir, I didn't recognize you up here, okay? Does anybody require anything of the applicants before we start making this motion? I just feel we need the township engineer's report, the code enforcer here, to just, boil this thing down on
And,
what.
and I agree with you. My only issue is that these people did come out here to oppose. They might have changed their plans to come. They did nothing wrong. Is there any problem with just hearing them out? John, do you have an opinion? Roman, do you? Does it not go in order? Do they need to be heard after all the testimony?
It's unfortunate, but he hasn't really put any kind of case on.
Mhm.
We don't have the engineer's report.
Okay.
So.
He's not meeting our threshold at this
At
point.
this juncture,
their
they
fault.
should be asking questions, but they can't.
Right.
Because there's nothing been
There's
presented.
nothing to present right now.
So it's.
Do you want our engineer or
It's
the
an
town engineer?
unfortunate situation.
Because I don't
That's the
think the town
procedure.
engineer, it's not like the other case, the town engineer was to the property. He hasn't been to this property, probably.
What flooding has occurred onto the surrounding properties?
That's the job of the engineer. He's gonna go out there.
The answer is yes.
Yes.
Thank you.
Go ahead, sir. This is.
Question directly related to this. If you reschedule the meeting, I can understand that, but what if, we're here on this date, but what if one or all of us can't make that meeting? Do we have can we make a request to extend it to a different date?
No, you can't. I've sat in your position before, and I've come to 4 zoning cases that affected my direct neighborhood, and I had to come 4 separate times in order to be heard. So unfortunately, no. I send a representative. At the time that I sat in your seat, I sent my husband, and my husband just can't do what I can do. But nonetheless, that was just that. No, in this case, because I was just so vested in it, But nonetheless. He understands. That's just the harsh reality, all right? So please, whatever you can do to come back again,
I just wanted that was a point of it.
Yeah, understood. Okay, so it's the town engineer's report that we want, correct, guys, everybody? Okay, so I'll entertain that motion, please, if somebody is willing to make it.
So moved.
Well,
December
okay,
18th.
let's make it very clear, so,
Make it very clear, we'll hold
Okay.
this case over to December 18th, upon which time we'll have the township engineer's report. And I would also like to include the enforcement officers.
Yes.
report, because he's the one that left the card in the violation.
I would go as far as to have the code enforcer here,
Yeah.
because I would like to ask a few questions, I'm sure, as well as everybody else, so.
Yeah, I think the pictures need an explanation.
Absolutely, he took them, he's gotta explain them. All right, so, second?
Jaskowitz.
Okay, Nora, would you kindly call the roll?
Mr. Berkowitz.
Yes.
Mr. Jaskowitz.
Yes.
Mr. Prasad.
Yes.
Mr. Reddy.
Yes.
Ms. Snyder.
Yes.
Mr. Willens.
Yes.
Okay, Mr. Wang, your case is stayed until December 18th. No notice is needed. And neighbors, again, please mark your calendars for December 18th and be here as much as possible if you can. All right. Next case will be Kimberly
I have
Rawson.
one more question. Do I need to do anything to contact town engineer, or town engineer will contact us? How to proceed that?
No, we'll make the arrangements to have
Oh,
the
okay.
township
All right.
engineer's report along with the code enforcer here.
Okay.
There's no ask of you, other than just to be here, ready to present your case as you
Okay.
were tonight.
All right.
Okay?
Thank you.
Thank you. Kimberly Rawson.
What case number?
Case number 1939, C variance to construct a garage and a second-story addition. Oh,
Just repeat the name.
Wilson. Hi, everybody. Kindly raise your right hands.
You swear that the testimony you're about to give before this board is true, so help you God? Okay, if you could spell your names, please.
Kimberly Ross, Variance, R-R-Y,
L-Y? Okay,
R-O-S-L-O-N.
sir?
Robert, last name Bonora, B-O-N-O-R-A.
And do both of you own this property?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Have a seat.
Okay, so you're looking for a C variance to construct a garage and second-story additions, contrary to section 430-35. Can you tell us a little bit about this project, please, and the genesis of it?
So we bought the house back in.
Can you speak up to the microphone, please?
So we bought the house back in April. It wasn't occupied for several years, so it's pretty dilapidated,
Can't
but
close
we
the
bought
doors.
it.
I'm sorry, you can't close the doors. This is a public hearing.
They're getting into it a little out there.
Yeah, we have to tell them to simmer down. We can't close the doors.
Tell
I
them to
apologize
take
for interrupting.
Tell them to take it outside.
Yeah, but that's not permitted.
You didn't think the zoning board meeting was gonna be lively.
Okay. Thank you.
Go
Sorry.
ahead about
It's like
that.
reality
Okay.
TV tonight.
We bought the house and it was pretty dilapidated. We knew it needed a lot of repairs. It does not have a garage. Most of the neighborhood most of the houses in the neighborhood do have at least one, a lot of two-car garages. We are in the super minority of not having one.
Would you
and
pull the
we
mic
really
closer,
like-
please, to you?
Oh,
Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, our PA system's not the greatest. You gotta
It's
really
okay.
talk into it.
Is this better?
Yes.
Okay. So we want to put a two-car garage. We are in the setback, but they recently redid the road so that we have, it appears to have an extra 10 feet from the road, between the road and the house. So with the two-car garage being, if we did get it, it wouldn't appear that we were any closer to the road because they redid it. We have some pictures to show if I can circulate
I'm a little
it.
confused.
Yeah, I am too.
Okay. But basically, we just want to put a two-car garage on our property. It would really help with the weather and just us living there for however long we are there for. And then an addition on top of it, which we would use as a bonus room, but it could eventually be a bedroom because we will be starting a family soon. And I think that's about it.
How about the driveway? Explain the driveway. Driveway's quite a bit wider than permitted.
Yes, so the existing driveway is kind of curved, and so that we're not encroaching on our neighbor on the right side, we have to move the garage to the left. So in order to match up our garage with the driveway, we would have to move it over, but we would keep the existing right side, if able.
So close to the property line.
Well, that driveway's gonna get all destroyed during the construction anyway.
Yes,
So
but we're not
Are
going.
you trying to save it, or what are you doing?
Well, we're not going any closer to our neighbors on the right side with the driveway. We're just going
For a
closer
portion of-
inward,
For a portion of it, you're not, but
because a lot of it's existing.
I mean, why do you wanna have a 35-foot wide driveway?
No,
Do
we
you have a
don't,
lot
we
of
don't need to have
cars,
it. We,
or-
we can close off the right side, but in order to make the garage, we have to move it towards our house.
I see that.
So we can close off, it's existing, we can close that off and make it not
Grass.
wide, we don't care. But we just want to be able to drive straight through into our garage as opposed to
Instead
the
of
way it's
doing
currently
this.
constructed.
Yeah.
We'd have to,
Yeah, but
Do you have
the
your
driveway's
plan in
wider.
front of you? You got probably like 10 or more feet of driveway to the,
Right.
your neighbor's side, or maintaining
I have pictures, yeah, I could.
where you are now. It just seems,
Let's see what he's got first.
I mean, is there a specific reason? Do you have?
Can you go
Let's
here?
come
please?
over here first. How many different sheets do you have?
I can give you as many as you need.
No, are they all the same?
No, they're different.
Okay, so how many different sheets do you have that you're gonna present to this board?
In your
We have
hand.
to identify them as
Yeah,
exhibits.
individual.
Yeah, we have to mark them with all of them.
Well, we're gonna find out whether we're gonna do all of them or whether they're gonna clip them. So just.
Maybe two.
Okay, so this is a separate document, right? Okay.
That's what we thought.
I'm gonna mark as Exhibit A1.
That's in the packet.
Yeah, that's in the packet.
This has some red writing on it, so this is a little unique. So A1, I'm gonna give back to you. It's got some,
Yeah.
it's been modified, so this is a,
That one with the red markings is what Mr. Pizza in the zoning department gave us initially, which started this process.
whose red writing is this?
His, Mr. Pizza.
Must have explained something.
Lisa.
Lisa, you mean?
Oh,
Justin
my-
Lisa?
No, no.
P-I-Z-Z-A.
No, Robert Pizza. He's
Oh,
a
Pizza.
zoning
Oh,
officer.
gotcha.
Zoning
Yes,
officer.
yes.
Robert.
Right, but the zoning officer prepares the report for the board, not Mr. Pizzo.
And you have what appear to be 1, 2, 3. I have 4 here. Is that, sure. All 4? Okay. And who took these photos?
See what-
We did last weekend.
Okay.
It's actually helpful. You know, see what it is.
Thanks.
Yeah, that'll help with my explanation of the road.
Are these for us?
Yeah, you can keep them. Mhm.
So I'm gonna clip them. And I'm gonna mark the first page as A2 and indicate that there are 4 total pages of photos taken by the applicants. Okay?
Correct.
Microphone's yours.
So basically, one of those pictures shows that from the edge of our house to the curb cut, the new road is 65 feet. And we're gonna come out 24 feet, which would be 41 feet from the new road.
I see. Rose pulled
And I
away
guess you
from the
guys,
road.
but this was before we bought the house, did all the gas pipes or something, so it looks like the road was shrunk down, so we have a bigger driveway.
It is hard to read.
Yeah.
So these pictures show that the road has been redone,
Correct.
and from your property line, the actual pavement moves away from your property. Okay, so that deals with the encroachment into the front yard is what you're saying.
Yeah,
Correct.
like the appearance from standing in the.
Okay, now let's
middle
go to
street.
this driveway that's gonna be 35 feet wide.
Right.
And it's gonna have to extend from the front of the garage to the new roadway. Which
Right.
is gonna be, how long is the driveway gonna be in actuality then? 50 feet?
It'd be 41 feet,
41 feet
the
long?
length.
Yeah, from
Yeah,
the
yeah.
front of the garage door.
Correct.
To where
Right.
the new edge of the road is.
Right, and we're not so concerned about the width. We can shrink that down. It doesn't, we don't need that extra
Because-
space. That's just existing. We can, like you said, the construction will chop that up. We can
you've heard us talking about impervious coverage all night long. That's one of your variances. Yours are what we refer to as de minimis, 0.85% and 0.86%. You don't have to reduce your driveway very much
Right.
to overcome that variance.
Okay.
It would seem to me that you'd line it up with your new garage,
Yeah.
and that would be it. If you got 41 feet of driveway out there,
Okay.
you're gonna be able to put a lot of cars in the driveway. You don't have to have.
Yeah.
So you would agree to line the driveway up with the front of your garage?
Correct.
Okay.
And that would bring the dimensions from 35 feet down to what?
You'll get down to 24 feet, I think.
24 feet wide.
Is that how wide your garage is? It looks like it.
Yeah, I think it's 26 by 24, so 26 feet wide.
26 deep?
No, it's gonna be
26 wide?
24 deep, 26 wide. Right?
Doesn't show that.
No.
Sir?
Look, you gotta come up.
Tell him, whisper in his ear, please.
Yeah, either whisper in his ear or come up and swear you in. Let's swear you in.
All right, so we'll make the driveway 24 feet based on our observation of the plan.
Okay.
And
Wide.
And it'll line up with the front of the garage.
Okay.
That's good with you?
So it cuts out the variance.
Okay, that
Yeah,
gets
that
rid of a
gets
couple
rid of the-
variances.
In the
What is,
driveway.
what is the width, I'm sorry, 26 or
24 feet.
24?
24 feet.
24 feet? Okay.
So that gets, he's given the explanation of the front yard.
No, the garage is
Sto-
24.
How do you get 3 stories? Where'd you get 3?
I don't know how
We're
we
kind
get.
of confused on that
You're
ourselves,
not
actually.
proposing 3 stories?
No,
Okay, so we reduce that.
no, but what we're
Yeah,
doing is,
It's not 3 stories.
it's not. We have a walkout basement, but from the street level, it's just the 1 story. And then we're gonna do the 1 story with the driveway, leading into the garage, and then on top of that's the bonus room.
So you including the 3rd story, including the basement?
We didn't come up with the 3-story number,
How much of the basement is out of the ground? Just the back or?
Just the back.
So the front is level?
Correct.
Sides, it slopes down?
Right.
yeah.
All right, so we're good with that one. And we got the driveway back to standard at 24 feet. The driveway's gonna be a lot more than 2 feet. It's gonna be at least 5 feet from your edge.
Yeah.
I don't know what this sets.
What about this setback here?
I can't figure that out. Did they miss that?
Or-
It's gotta be at least 15 feet,
Yes?
yeah.
Front yard setback.
Well, we don't need to, because it's no longer a variance. Yards and decks, okay, and the coverage,
Okay.
yards, decks, courts, open deck.
They may only need a
Building-
front yard variance.
The building coverage, they will need for the yards and courts, but they will not need for building coverage. Yes, they will.
Yes, they will, for the garage.
No, because that doesn't, yeah, it doesn't.
It's the opposite, isn't it?
Yep, okay. Which are de minimis.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Run down, we're gonna reduce the driveway to 24 feet wide. That gets rid of that variance. There is a 2-story addition, we get rid of that variance. The driveway will be more than 5 feet from the edge of the property, so we get rid of that variance. So we're down to just the 0.85% and 0.86% issues.
What's your de minimis?
Yeah.
You don't have anything else to add, do
No.
you?
I'm just concerned, it might be 26 feet wide. Would I have those 2 extra feet if it was 26? I can't. I'd
Your
have to
contractor's whispered in your ear, it's
Yeah.
23.9.
It's my
No,
father.
well-
yeah. He's also my contractor, though, so it's okay.
You're gonna get stiffed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And no bonus for you.
The way this is drawn on here is deeper than it is wide, which would be a normal garage.
Okay.
So 24 feet, you're good.
Okay.
So the only 2 variances are the last 2 on the summary
Well,
sheet.
it's still a front yard, isn't it?
Change that to 24 feet, and the last 2 are de
The
minimis.
front yard?
Yeah, the front yard stays.
Yes.
So 3 variances.
3 variances, the front yard,
That's the
the
one
building
with.
coverage, right?
Yep.
And then
Yep.
the yards and courts.
And we're sure it's 24 feet, right, guys?
That's the agreed.
That's what we'll
24
make it,
feet.
yeah.
It's gonna be 24 feet.
Okay. Now's the time to,
Okay, you need to stand up and you
sir,
need to swear
if-
yourself in, please.
now we're gonna need you to raise your right hand, and do you swear that the testimony you're about to give before the board shall be the whole truth, so help you God?
And state your name and spell it, please, at the microphone.
Angelo Bonora, and Bonora.
And you're the contractor?
Yes.
Go ahead, Mr. Benora. What do you want to tell the board?
Well, just with the width of the apron, when they redid the street, there's all Belgian block there. So, to close it up, does the town close that up, or is the responsibility of the homeowners to get the same Belgian block that's there? Because it's all gonna have to look the same once you start closing it up. You don't want it to look, different. So, if we were to close it up, we would have to know exactly what Belgian block the town used, so it would match.
Go to the engineering department.
Yeah.
Call the engineering?
It'll be your responsibility and go to them.
Yep,
Close it up.
to figure it out.
Okay.
Yep.
When you get your building permit in this driveway, you're gonna get I think, a driveway permit as well.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, just wanna
Okay.
make sure we got it. Get it right, that's why we're here.
Okay.
We don't want to see you again.
Is there any more questions from the board at all? No? Is there anybody in the audience who has any questions of the testimony that's been given by the applicants at this time? I hear none and see none. Is there anything else you would like to add about this project?
No, that's it.
Any more questions from the board? Is there anybody in the audience who'd like to speak in opposition of this case? Is there anybody in the audience who'd like to speak in favor of this application? I hear none and see none. Any more comments from the board? Anybody would like to?
Sure. Since we eliminated most of the variances and shrunk it in size, it ended up being a very de minimis application, so I'll be voting for it.
Thank you, Mr. Jaskowitz. Would somebody like to form a resolution?
I'll do it, I guess.
Thank you, Mr. Berkowitz.
Application number 19:39, Kimberly Roslin and Robert Benara, 26 Glacier Drive, Block 174, Lot 25 in the R3 zone. I move we grant the C variances for front yard, yards and courts, and building coverage as testified to by the applicant, and grant the motion for that.
Right.
Second ready.
Any further discussion? Nora, would you please call the roll?
Mr. Berkowitz?
Yes.
Mr. Jaskowitz?
Yes.
Mr. Prasad?
Yes.
Mr. Reddy?
Yes.
Ms. Snyder?
Yes.
Mr. Willens?
Yes.
Great. Your variance has been approved, and it will be memorialized at our next meeting in 2 weeks.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for coming.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Next case will be case application 19:45, Chris and Kathleen Cruz. Would you,
You guys already know the
Yep.
drill. I did see somebody raising their hands back there. But in all seriousness, do you swear that the testimony you're about to give before the board shall be the whole truth, so help you God? Okay, if you could please spell your names.
Kathleen Cruz, K-A-T-H-L-E-N, C-R-U-Z.
And Ms. Cruz.
Christopher, C-H-R-I-S-T-O-P-H-E-R, Cruz, C-R-U-Z.
Thank you, Mr. Cruz. You both own this property?
Yes.
Okay, have a seat.
Great. All right, so you're looking to construct additions that, I guess, amount in 228 square feet. Can you tell us a little bit about the project, please?
Sure. So we bought the house in April of this year. It's currently 3 bedrooms, 1 bath. What we're looking to do is add the 228 square feet to what would be considered the master bedroom, which is where we would be. That 228 square feet would be additional bedroom space, an additional bath, and a little bit extra closet space. The motive behind adding this is because we want to add a baby bassinet to the bedroom square footage safely and comfortably. And also with the plan of growing our family, we would like to add that second bath just for life-to-life logistics. And since we would already be doing that, utilizing that opportunity to just add a little bit closet space as well. The reason why we need the variance is because we are a corner lot. So this is the corner. This is Mohican. This is Sioux. So our address is actually Mohican, and this is where our front door faces. But the backyard is actually what we treat as our side yard. So it's kind of opposite what it really is. So what is considered our side yard, which is behind our front door, has 30 feet between our wall and the fence. And then what is considered our backyard, but is treated like the side yard, is about 15 feet from wall to fence. Our bump out would be in that 15 feet, so we would head closer to the fence on that side. On the flip side of that fence, our neighbor, it's their driveway, so we're not encroaching upon their actual utilized like backyard. So it's not like we would be closer to being on top of them.
On the other side of the 15 feet.
Right.
Right.
Yeah. And we would stay behind our fence.
Did you speak to them about what you're doing?
We have not.
They were noticed?
They were noticed. right?
Yes.
Okay.
And they got the same notice everyone else did, but we haven't spoken to them personally about our plans.
And some of this addition I see encroaches on your slate patio. Am I getting
Yes.
that right? So you're just going to knock that portion
We would
down
knock
just
that
to-
portion out, yes. We wouldn't replace
How high is
that.
that rear wood fence between you and your neighbor?
Do you know how high the fence is?
It's about, 6 feet.
Okay. And the elevation of this addition will be how high?
It's the normal height of the house.
It's one
Yeah,
story.
it's the same-
Yeah,
yeah, it's the
we have a
same height.
one-story house.
You're not looking to go up. It's just one story.
Yes.
Correct.
Is there any landscaping or trees in that area?
There are trees on,
Where you're
basically
going to build?
No,
Is there any-
No,
there's
we
no
wouldn't take
need.
any trees out.
Grass?
There's no need. yeah.
Grass.
And how about up next to the fence? Is there any landscaping up next to the fence, or is
On
that
their side of the fence, there's some trees.
hedge or something?
Yeah, on their side of the fence, so we
There-
wouldn't.
So there are trees against that fence before their driveway starts?
Correct.
Okay. Thank you. Any other questions from the board? I have no other questions. Anybody? Anybody in the audience have any questions on the testimony that was given by this applicant at this time? I hear none and see none. Would you like to add anything else?
I mean, we have preliminary plans. I'm not sure if you want to see them or not, but
Huh? No.
no. Okay.
We're good.
For now.
For now,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
Any other comments? Okay. Anybody in the audience who would like to speak in opposition of this application? I hear none and see none. Anybody would like to speak in favor of this application? I hear none and see none. Nothing, would you like to sum up anything? Nothing? You're good?
No.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you.
Anybody on the board like to state a position?
I
I
think
don't
it's
feel
a-
a need to go to conference for
It's
this.
it's an administered request, and I think it
I agree.
would improve their quality of life and staying in the neighborhood, so I'll be voting in favor of this application.
Thank you, Mr. Willens. Anybody like to
Application
pull
19:45, Chris and Kathleen Cruz, 18 Mohican Place, Block 527, Lot 1, Zone R4, recommending granting a C variance to construct additions totaling 228 square feet, contrary to section 430-35, column 7.
Second ready.
Motion made, second has been made. Any further discussion? Nora, please call the roll.
Mr. Berkowitz.
Yes.
Mr. Jaskowitz.
Yes.
Mr. Prasad.
Yes.
Mr. Reddy.
Yes.
Ms. Snyder.
Yes.
Mr. Willens.
Yes.
Your variance has been granted.
Awesome.
We will
Thank you, guys.
memorialize this in 2 weeks. Thank you for coming in.
Thank you. Have a great night.
You too.
Thank you, too.
Okay, next case is application 19:14, Dennis and Stephanie Chu.
Just in time.
All right. You made it.
Come sit up here. Let him sit up here.
Let's swear him in. Just for kicks.
Will our scout be testifying?
If you want.
We'll see how it goes.
If you kindly raise your right hands.
You swear that the testimony you're about to give before the board shall be the whole truth, so help you God. Okay, if you could spell your names, please.
Dennis, Dennis. Chiu is the last name.
Chiu. Thank you, Mr. Chu.
Question? C-H-I-S-T-I-A-N. Chu, C-H-R-U.
Thank you, Mr. Chu.
Stephanie Chu, Stephanie, S-T-E-P-H-A-N-I-E, last name Chu, C-H-I-U.
And I assume that Dennis and Stephanie are owners of the property. Very good, thank you.
Okay, so you're looking to construct an addition and a driveway expansion?
That is correct. That is
Um,
correct.
Can you tell us a little bit about the project, please?
Yes. My in-laws live in Parsippany currently, and they're getting older, and they're going to come live in our house. So we wanted to expand to add an additional bedroom and some public space. So we wanted to do the expansion. And as for the driveway expansion, currently our driveway is 1 lane, and then it becomes 2 right in front of our driveway. As both of my kids will be driving soon, we figured having 2 up and to be able to come 2 out, it'd be easier instead of backing out, constantly trying to rearrange cars.
Okay. And the addition is
Could
1,000,
you explain that
1,400.
driveway again? What's gonna happen?
So currently we have a 2-car garage right in front of our driveway. It is width enough to space 2 cars, but then it narrows down into a 1-car entrance.
Okay. Yeah, I got it. Yeah. But I can't see what you're intending to do.
So we wanted to straighten out the right-hand side, so instead of curving in, it would just go straight down.
Okay, so you wanna uniformly
Yes.
22 feet wide or whatever it is right now, all the way to the street.
Just, yeah,
All
straight
the way
down.
down to the street.
What's behind you where your addition is going?
So currently behind us is Littleton School as well as the backyard of our neighbor. This is a picture of our backyard, sorry, but it's literally all just woods.
So we're going to introduce Exhibit A1.
But off to the side here is Littleton, correct?
Littleton is off to the side and to the back.
Right here,
This is-
right here.
This is all Littleton.
That's Little. So what's these woods here?
This wood is standing right here at at this corner, this view.
Okay, so the woods are here.
Yes.
And
Is
Littleton-
that school property where the notch in the back of your property is?
That is correct. So
Okay, that's-
that notch, so we live on a corner property, and then the corner where we meet the school, it's notched.
Yeah, get into the microphone.
This is true. Who took this photo?
I did or you did? You did.
I did.
You took the photo.
I did.
And this is again a photo representing
Our
Philip.
back-
The property line of our backyard.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
So the corner of our property cuts out and is Littleton, so we actually approached the Board of Education and asked them if we could buy the corner of the property, and they weren't interested in selling, and then we asked if we could swap out corners to, so it would make we wouldn't be so close to that corner in piece, and they were not interested, but she was, the business administrator said that she was fine with whatever we wanted to do as long as it was okay. And these are just the email, I don't know if you want the emails where.
We can't take them.
Okay.
That's not, yeah, no, I'm sorry.
It's a rear yard variance, right?
I'm sorry?
This is a rear yard variance, because it says
Yes,
front yard on the
yeah,
report.
it says front.
So I was confused.
Yeah, it should say rear variance.
Yeah, why does it say that? That's what I was questioning.
I think it's just a mistake, because even the 20 feet would be a front yard.
Right.
Is it due to the corner property?
I'm sorry?
It's due to the corner property, rear yard becomes side yard or something?
It's a rear yard, but they labeled it front, but they gave the numbers for a rear yard. The addition that you're going to construct for your in-laws, you realize that you could put a bathroom in it.
It's not just for the in-laws, it's for a 4th bedroom as well as public space too.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, there's not gonna be a kitchen.
No.
No
Just the
kitchenette, no-
bedroom and
And public space.
oh, public space. We're
Public
basic.
space
Seating?
is play space.
Oh yeah.
Rec
So
room.
I guess the living room and our
Rec
dining
room,
room will
something,
get bigger.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so the variance then for the 2-foot rear coverage is actually to the school property line, right?
Right.
And-
That is
and-
correct.
Okay, very good. There's no neighbor back there, and they haven't, okay, got it.
And you've attempted to
Contact.
alter that variance by negotiation with the Board of Education,
Yeah.
which was.
Which they said they were
fruitless.
not interested in selling property or exchanging property.
Good.
All right.
Do you have a fence there at all?
We only have a fence around our pool area, but not in the woods separating our house from the school, if that's what you're asking.
So that's open space back there?
That is correct.
From all sides,
Yes.
all open. Okay. Anybody else have any questions on the board?
Just to go for a clarify the record, you're not proposing any exits from your addition to the property, are you?
Separate entrance.
So if you look
Just
at.
gonna have windows.
Windows on the back side, but then the part facing the pool, that skinny side, since there's gonna be a patio there, we wanted to add a slider to go out to the patio from that side if possible.
That's good to know.
Understood.
Thank you.
Any other questions from the board? Bernie, you good?
No, I'm good.
Okay. Anybody in the audience have questions of this applicant on the testimony that was just given? I hear none and see none.
I'm just checking scheduling.
Is there anything else you'd like to add to wrap up your application?
No.
You're good? All right. Is there anybody in the audience who would like to speak in opposition of this application? I hear none and see none. Anybody in the audience wish to speak in favor of this application? I hear none and see none. Would anybody in the board like to make a comment on this case, please?
Yeah, this is the minimus request, the hardship for the property, and especially Board of Education has no intention of doing anything there, so I'm in favor of this application.
Thank you, Mr. Rennie. Would anybody like to propose a resolution on
Sure.
application 19?
Application 19:14, Dennis and Stephanie Chu, 10 Windsor Road, Block 168, Lot 38, Zone R-1. Recommend granting a C variance to construct an addition and driveway expansion contrary to Section 430-35, columns 7 and 13.
Second ready.
Motion made, second made. Any further discussion? Nora, please call the roll.
Mr. Berkowitz.
Yes.
Mr. Jaskowitz.
Yes.
Mr. Prasad.
Yes.
Mr. Reddy.
Yes.
Ms. Snyder.
Yes.
Mr. Willens.
Yes.
Approved by all.
Thank
I actually
you.
have a quick question. They're redoing our road, Windsor Road right now. Since we're allowed to have our driveway expanded, are we allowed to ask them to make the width of it a little bit wider, or who do we talk to about that?
Yeah, the engineer.
Like
We
they're
can't
literally.
answer that.
Yeah, we can't answer that.
That's,
You're gonna have to,
that's not us.
you're gonna have to go to the engineer's office, right?
Yeah.
Go to the engineer's office and consult with them.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Your variance has been granted. We'll memorialize this at our next meeting in 2 weeks. Thank you. Have a great night.
Thank you. Too.
All right, next case is application 19:36, Volva and Archana Shah. Please step forward.
We gotta get this is from last month. They get notice. Yeah, I forgot.
Hi, would you kindly raise your right hand, please, and be sworn in?
Do you swear that the testimony you swear that the testimony you're about to give before this board shall be the whole truth, so help you God?
Yes.
Spell your names, please.
Fulva Shah, Fulva, last name Shah, Shah.
Daniel Tedesco, Tedesco.
Tedesco.
Okay.
And Mr. Tedesco, I don't see you on the application.
I'm her contractor.
You're the contractor?
Yes.
Okay,
So I'm just here to answer any questions you may have and to kind of lay out what the project is.
very good.
Okay, so you're looking to construct this is, I guess, understand from last month?
Yes.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
You're looking to construct a new 2-story, single-family dwelling with attached garage and open deck, along with stairs. Now, was there a notice issue in regards to this
Yes.
case from last month?
Yeah, I missed one letter. At the
I'm sorry,
bottom of
can
the
you
list.
speak up?
At the bottom of the list, I missed one letter.
Okay.
That's why, yeah, so we had to
So there
redo
was
it.
no testimony last time?
No,
No.
none at all.
No,
Okay.
okay. Okay. So why don't you just go over the project, the genesis of the project, please?
Right, so I'll give a quick rundown. So they've lived in the house for a number of years. How many years?
When did you buy the house?
2002.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
And their parents are going to be staying with them, and they want to build a new house. Also, the house is really starting to have a
1935.
lot of problems with the foundation leaking and things like that. So they decided to build a new home. And we're going to demolish that house and build a new house. And the new house is slightly over the coverage, because usually the plan we put on that lot would fit, but they want their parents to stay with them. And so we're putting an additional room behind the garage. There's no setback issues or anything like that. It's just a very small amount of coverage over. And we're going to put a prayer room as well for religious purposes.
There's no extra kitchens in this property.
No. It's going to be a bedroom and a bathroom and a closet
Yeah.
behind the garage.
Extremely diminished.
Yeah.
And the general footprint of this is relatively the same. I mean,
Correct. We're
increase
just a
little
very
bit.
small percentage over, right?
Okay.
There's no setback issues or anything.
Okay. I don't know. I have no questions. Anybody have any questions here?
No.
Okay.
This is a corner lot.
Yeah.
correct?
It is a
Correct.
corner.
Yes, it is.
Mhm. Bernie, any more questions?
No.
Okay.
Imagine they were able to get both
Yeah.
front yards.
Right.
Yep.
All right.
Just a quick question. There's a mention on the application that a Mr. Miola will be testifying.
He didn't come. Engineer. He's the engineer, so I came in his place.
Was there anything that he would have added that
No.
this board should consider?
Not at all, no.
All right. Is there anybody in the audience who'd like to ask any questions based on the testimony that was given by this applicant just now? I hear none and see none. Would you like to add anything about the
No,
summation of
thank you.
this? Okay. All right. And just one added question. So your two parents are coming?
Yeah, they're,
Right. Hi,
my parents are right
No,
there.
you can stay there. Hi, guys. Hi, everybody. And it's you, a husband,
It's,
children?
it's
Just
me and
you?
my sister are the co-owner of the house.
Hi, sis.
She's also sitting back there. Basically, when we bought the house, my parents were in their 60s and they were healthy and there were no problems.
Mm-hmm.
So they could go up and down, bedrooms were upstairs, so
Good
they could
point,
go
yeah.
up and down. Now they're in their late 70s, they have multiple health issues and they can't go up and down. So basically what we want to do is we want to have their own section of the house on the first floor where they have a prayer room and they have their bedroom and the kitchen is always the first
Right,
floor.
and there's no
That's
separate
the whole
entrances.
idea of it. There's nothing new. And we're only going over 1.3%.
Right,
Point
percent.
five.
I see.
Yeah.
Definitely. Okay. Is there anybody in the audience who'd like to speak in opposition to this application as presented? Is there anybody who'd like to speak in favor of this application? I hear none and see none. Any additional comments from the board on this application? Anybody would like to form a statement?
Yes, it is super de minimis in nature and for a wonderful reason of taking care of elderly parents, so I will be voting for it.
Thank you, Mr. Jaskowitz. Would anybody like to form a motion?
I can do it.
Thank you.
Application 19:36, Fulva and Archana Shah, 69 Allentown Road, Block 228, Lot 5, Zone R4, to grant or issue C variance to construct a new two-story single-family dwelling with attached garage and open deck with stairs, contrary to section 430-35, column 10, and section 430-10.1.
Second.
Jaskowitz.
Any further comments? Nora, please call the roll.
Mr. Berkowitz.
Yes.
Mr. Jaskowitz.
Yes.
Mr. Prasad.
Yes.
Mr. Reddy.
Yes.
Ms. Snyder.
Yes.
Mr. Willens.
Yes.
Approved by all.
Okay, your variance has been approved.
Thank you very much for everybody's time.
Memorialize this at our
Appreciate
next
it.
meeting. Thank you, have a great night.
Good luck.
We got a lot of memorializing to do, huh? Yes. Oh, yeah, I guess so. I've been really working you guys to the bone. We're gonna take a 5-minute break and then we'll come back. I could've just kept going.
Three, this one's an easy one. This
Who's got something that needs
Who wants a break? There's nothing in your contract that says you get a break.
We're on a roll.
I know, I was like.
How's everything? Good to see you.
If you didn't say anything, you would have never gone to break.
Real wacky.
Thanks, John.
Not little, it's a heavy.
Yes.
Just for the record,
There's 3 cases left.
Bob Ierkane, I'm now here, just so it goes on public record. Case 1951, Mr. Pierce. It's been a while, Mr. Pierce. How are we doing in building business?
Very well, thank you.
That's good. Good to hear.
Please raise your right hand. You swear that the testimony you're about to give before this board shall be the whole truth, so help you God?
Yes, I do.
Spell your name, please.
Donald, D-O-N-A-L-D, Pierce, P-I-E-R-C-E, Jr.
Mr. Pierce, you're the owner of the property?
Yes, I am.
Thank you.
Mr. Pierce, you know the drill. Why don't you start and tell us what you want to do?
Okay, good evening, Mr. Chairman and members of the board. I have a 40 by 100 lot in the Lake Hiawatha section of town with an existing dwelling on it, and I'd like to demolish that house and build a new house. And what I've done, I've put together some pictures of the property and the house that I'd like to build. And with the board's permission, if it's okay, I can hand one of these out to each member of the board.
Those are all identical?
Yes, they are.
Okay, as long as I can get one that I can mark.
Okay, I'll start with you.
Please. This is the only exhibit you'll be tendering?
Yes, sir.
All right, so we'll call this A1, and it is 2 pages. One is a cover page, and the other is a page containing 3 photographs.
That's correct.
Great, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Yeah, first year in Princeton.
I thought you was only going to be a senior.
No.
Oh my God, that's fantastic.
Princeton.
That is
Thank
fantastic.
you. Abby Levy's. Mayor's.
I know Lovey's family.
All right.
He's a national talent in cross-country track. Incredible runner.
Okay, so basically these 3 pictures depict the situation very well. The top photo I've already labeled, that's the subject property.
You can't refurbish that, huh?
No, it's really
Gonna put a
important.
second story on it?
No, it's really in poor condition. The foundation is actually cracked and all the floor beams are rotted out and it's full of mold right now. There's no one living in the property. So it's really in poor condition. It's a converted summer home. The second picture is actually a picture of the 2 houses directly across the street from the subject property. And you can see by those 2 houses there, the trend in the neighborhood is to knock down these older homes and build 2-story new homes. And the last picture on the bottom is the proposed new home that I would like to build. And you can see that it fits in very well with the majority of the other homes in the neighborhood. And in addition to the poor condition that the house is in, it's actually violating the zoning requirements in 3 areas currently. The left side of the property, of the house rather, is only 5 feet 6 inches off the property line, where the minimum zoning requirement is 6 feet. The right side of the dwelling is 5 feet 6 inches off the side yard setback, and you're supposed to have a minimum of 6 feet there as well. And there's actually a zoning requirement for a minimum gross floor area for a single-family dwelling, which is supposed to be 950 square feet, and the approximate square footage of this house is 675 square feet. So the way the property currently exists, there are 3 zoning violations present.
In addition to the undersized lot.
I'm sorry?
In addition to the undersized lot.
That's correct. That's
The
correct.
undersized lot creates your need to come here for a variance.
Absolutely.
Mr. Pierce, you have a lot of experience in building houses like this in Parsippany?
Yes, I do.
And if my memory serves me correct, you always try and work with neighbors if there's any concerns about drainage or windows on the side or anything that might upset it.
Absolutely.
You've always worked with everyone. Have
Absolutely.
we ever denied you an application?
I don't think so, and hopefully that'll continue.
Are you leading something?
No, I'm just,
There's a first.
No.
How many houses have you refurbished?
Over the years, I've probably built about 80 or 90 homes in
In Parsippany?
Yep, and I live in Parsippany, so I pride myself in doing a good job, and I want to have a good reputation in the town. So the 3 variances that I'm asking for tonight all pertain to the fact that it's an undersized lot. The lot area, which is 4,000 square feet, you're supposed to have a minimum of 6,000. The lot width is 40 feet wide, you're supposed to have a minimum of 60 feet. And building coverage, which I'm asking for 29.25%, but if it was a 60 by 100 lot, I wouldn't need that either.
Any questions by the board?
No.
Nope. My question is the two houses across the street, what size are those lots?
The one on the left is on a 40 by 100 lot, and actually that was an application that was before this board, and it was approved. And the other one is a 60 by 100 lot.
Did you build that one?
I didn't build that one, no. Another builder in town built that house.
Any other questions from the board? Any members of the public have any questions of this witness on the testimony given? I hear none, see none. Anything you want to add?
No, I just think this is a win-win situation for everyone involved. The property values in the neighborhood will increase. The township will benefit by increased ratables. I'll benefit by being able to build a home, and there's no detriment to the public good.
Are there any members of the public who wish to speak in opposition to this application, in support of this application? I hear none and see none. Someone like to make a brief statement?
Sure.
I mean, I probably know Mr. Pierce better than any of you, because I've probably heard about 30 of his cases. But go ahead, Mr.
I think it'd be a nice upgrade for the community, and I'll be approving the application.
Thank you, sir.
Volunteer to frame a resolution?
Application 1951, Donald Pierce, 26 Ute Avenue, Block 562, Lot 1, Zone R4, that we grant a C variance to construct a two-story, single-family dwelling, contrary to Section 430-35, columns 2, 3, and 10.
Is there a second?
Second ready.
Any discussion? Nora, call the roll.
Mr. Berkowitz.
Yes.
Mr. Jaskowitz.
Yes.
Mr. Prasad.
Yes.
Mr. Reddy.
Yes.
Ms. Snyder.
Yes.
Mr. Willens.
Yes.
Chairman Irakane.
Yes.
Approved by all.
Result is the variance is granted. Good luck, Mr. Pierce.
Thank
Hope
you.
to
Thank you.
see you again soon.
Thank you very much. I appreciate everything. Thank you.
Thank you. Can someone tell me which cases we carried?
Yes, I can.
Yeah, Cavaliere,
40 and 41.
Cavaliere and Wang.
1941 and 1940.
Okay, thank you.
To December 18th,
Okay, so we are now on case
the last two.
1946 RD Realty, 30 Waterview Boulevard, D variance for an urgent care facility.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. For the record, Richard Hoff of the law firm of Biscayne Hoff. I'm here on behalf of the applicant, RD Realty LLC. We are here tonight with respect to a use variance, as well as a C variance parking situation that Mr. Keller will testify to. With respect to the Waterview Marketplace Shopping Center, by way of background, this was a project that resulted from a settlement of litigation. That settlement of litigation led to a zoning ordinance that provided for the RC Plan Retail Commercial District. There was also a settlement agreement between the township and the owner of the property that required the owner of the property to conform to the zoning in addition to simply the zoning existing in and of itself. So before this application tonight, we needed to go to the council to seek permission to file this application because there was a settlement agreement that actually required us, as a condition of our agreement with council, to not deviate from the zoning. The council knew that we were proposing this application. They adopted an amendment to the settlement agreement allowing this application to move forward. So we've cleared sort of the procedural hurdle to get to this board, and now we're here tonight for the D variance for the proposed use, which, as indicated in the, as the chairman indicated, this is an urgent care center proposed in the Waterview Marketplace. Mr. Keller is setting up a board that'll orient the board as to where we are with the application. But before we get to that, I would have two witnesses I'd like to get sworn to touch on the merits of the application.
Want to do that?
Sure.
Before we do that, I wasn't aware that there were these separate agreements. When the council approved adding urgent care facilities under whatever that agreement was, it would seek variances. They did not simultaneously add the use to the zones?
They did not, and that Well, I think it was more a product of timing than anything else.
Okay.
The theory being we could get here quicker.
Answer the question. I understand that. You do?
Okay.
Your two witnesses will be offering lay testimony
Good point, John.
or expert testimony.
Expert testimony from Mr. Keller, lay testimony from Dr. Rohn.
Okay. Gentlemen, if you could please rise. Raise your right hand. Do you swear that the testimony you're about to give before this board shall be the whole truth, so help you God?
I do.
And if we could have the lay individual first name and last name?
Jean-Paul, Jean-Paul, Romes, R-O-M as in Mike, E-S.
And Mr. Romes, you are in relation to the applicant, the what?
I'm the physician who owns the urgent care.
Okay. And Mr. Hoff, your expert is?
Mr. Eric Keller.
And he will be testifying as an expert in?
He's civil engineer and a planning expert on the D variant.
Do you want to voir dire him now, or do you want to wait to do that later, as far as his qualifications and licenses?
As long as his licenses are in full,
Do
licenses.
you want to do that, or we can do that?
You can do that.
He's appeared before this board.
Your licenses are currently
Dozens of times.
active and in good standing?
Yes, sir.
And have you appeared before this board?
Many times.
Any objections to qualifying him as an expert?
No.
Thank you.
Sure.
Thank you. I'd like to start with Mr. Romes, who would be, should the board be inclined to grant the application, would be the tenant of the urgent care facility. Mr. Romes, can you give the board some background relative to your experience in this field?
Thank you. I'm an emergency physician by trade in history, and started in emergency medicine in 2002, or opened up my first urgent care, Pocono urgent care in the Poconos, Stroudsburg, in 2011. And that was our first. And then I opened up a second one in East Stroudsburg, 2013. And then opened up our first urgent care in New Jersey, Bridgewater, just actually in August this year.
Okay, so this would be your fourth facility?
Correct.
Okay, and for the board's information, can you describe just generally this facility, how it will work? Why don't we start with, the services that you offer as part of the urgent cares that you run?
We're a full-service urgent care, and my goal has been, my template has been to basically offer a much higher level of urgent care, because what I'd seen in what exists nationally is a wide variety of medicine. And urgent care is staffed by a wide mix of qualifications. So what my training has been more on the academic side of emergency medicine and primary care medicine. I'm trained in family medicine. And I've been a teacher of that art since I left residency in 2002. And we've applied that into our medicine. So, and I'm an assistant on faculty at two different places, in Chatham and Pittsburgh, and also DeSales in the Lehigh Valley. So we focus on a much higher form, a higher application of what we call evidence-based medicine. So it's basically, we try to practice as good medicine as you can possibly practice. And that, unfortunately, is a statement that can't really be said for the majority of medicine, sadly. I wish it were, but it's not the case. So we train our providers to always practice the highest level, and we teach our patients that highest level, which is also something that's not really done that often. Too many patients are just told to, as opposed to brought into and become a part of their medicine. So that's the type of medicine that we practice. It was very popular, as really in my mind it should be, and it grew rather well. That's why we went from our first one, and then I staffed my second one in East Stroudsburg, and then we've opened up the third one. And we focus on a much, much better format of medicine. It's really the medicine that it should be. I mean, in my mind, it's not like we practice better than everybody else. It's the par. It's what it should be. But so many other providers just they gave up long ago And unfortunately, so that's why the antibiotics are handed out. 60% of antibiotics prescribed are unnecessary. It's actually 80, but pain medicines, so many different things are abused, and that's it's something that you see is rampant nationwide. And the farther you go away from the academic centers of medicine, which is where I was taught in Boston and Houston, and two large meccas of high-level medicine, and the farther you go away, there's a trickle-down effect where it just gets weaker and weaker, and that's something that unfortunately we've seen where we moved to in the coast and in many other areas. So that's the mantra that we had, and actually our advertising was a new way of caring, which that's what we did when we opened up Pocono Urgent Care, and it's something that we provide better and a higher level of medicine, and also a place where you sort of want to go to, because there's so many places you go. I'm sure everybody's been to a doctor's office. It's packed, and the chairs are plastic. Everything's falling apart. In the waiting rooms, glass sliding doors. I hated all of that. So we created something nicer and much more comfortable in a place where people don't mind waiting, but not that long, because we see patients much faster than your typical primary care office, and absolutely emergency department, which is my trade before I opened up my first urgent care.
And what kind of services would you entertain at this particular facility?
Basically, the full as an emergency physician, I've trained all of our providers to take care of a much higher level. So, yeah, the vast majority of fractures, if you don't see the bone poking through the skin, that's something that we can do. And many places actually don't do that. They won't do the x-ray. They won't take care of the more significant fractures. They won't relocate a shoulder. We teach all of our providers to do the orthopedics, the sports medicine, the primary care, and that's actually what Parsippany will be our first endeavor into both urgent care and primary care, because there's such a shortage of the primary care everywhere. And being in primary care trained in primary care myself, I've just seen that shortage tremendously. Patients waiting 4, 5, 6 weeks to see their doctor, and once they get to their doctor, 2, 3, 4 hours to get for a 4-minute visit, and that's unfortunately ridiculous. So that's where we're introducing primary care, which has always been my goal, to introduce primary care into our urgent cares. That's called a hybrid clinic, where you do both pathways. And so we take care of all ages. I mean, I'll take care of a patient born yesterday all the way to 99, 100. We've taken care of all ages. Respiratory, well, basically everything except the life-threatening illnesses. Now, that part in and of itself is also a gray zone, which unfortunately, a lot of urgent cares will just turf to the ER. Oh, we can't handle this. Oh, we can't handle this. So much so that in our community, the transfer rate to the hospital was on average anywhere between 2 and 5% of their patients, which when you're talking about an 8,000 patient year, that's a lot of patients every day, every week being sent to the emergency department. Our transfer rate was 0.02%, because that's just the level I train our providers. Yes, you need to send the right lower quadrant pain that you think is an appendicitis. Yes, you need to send the person who you think is having a heart attack. But there's a lot of people who aren't having those that you can, once you stratify and have a little bit better skill in identifying that issue, there's a lot of people that don't need to go to the ER, and most don't. Most don't, as long as you have a plan for which to send them somewhere other than the emergency department. Yeah, you can follow up with the surgeon in 3 days. Yes, you can see the orthopedist in 5 days. Yes, et cetera, et cetera. And so we basically take care of all but the most significant issues: strokes, heart attacks, appendicitis.
And the providers in the facility, why don't you give the board some understanding? How many employees? Like how many doctors? How many staff? What does this urgent care center look like in terms of staffing?
On staffing, on the low side, for example, my clinic in East Stroudsburg, 3 people in the clinic generally, because it's a slower clinic per day. You have a provider, you have a nurse, you have the front desk. The front desk is actually a dual positioned role, and that's we call them a techceptionist. They're the front desk receptionist, and they're also a radiology technician, because we don't perform a lot of x-rays. Some of the larger centers you'll see, especially towards this New York City MD, for example, they'll do 40, 50 x-rays a day. They don't really need to, but they do it. we'll perform 5, 6, 7. Because again, most x-rays don't really need to be done. It's a money grab, but so you don't really need to do a lot of them if you just apply your thoughts, your brain to it. So we'll do 4, 5, 6, 7 x-rays. So that's not what we've learned, and many urgent cares throughout the country have learned, is to merge that role into the front desk, receptionists, and train them to do both. So that's the low end is 3 staff. And then my Stroudsburg clinic will have 2 nurses, because it's busier, 1 provider, and then between 1 and 2 on the admin side. So whenever we have the Parsippany clinic, when we introduce family medicine into it, there's 2 parallel pathways that will run. So you will have up to 2 providers. Initially for the first year, basically it'll be 1. And then 2 nurses, and then 2 front desk admin staff. So generally around 6. If there's a practice manager floating around between the clinics, it may be a 7th, but generally about 6 will be on the high end.
So that'll be the high end of your employee staffing.
Correct.
And then in terms of the amount of patients that'll be seen in a given day, what are those averages that you experience?
The average urgent care, and this is at a fully functional, the average urgent care, according to the Urgent Care Association of America, and this is off of their 2018 benchmark study, showed a 32 to 33 patient volume per day on average nationwide. Our clinics in the Poconos, for example, my slower one, has never seen that average. Because you're talking about averages with large volume centers that are seeing 100, 150 a day. So the averages and the medians start to spread apart. So our clinics in the Poconos will see anywhere, my slower clinic in East Stroudsburg sees in general about 17 to 18 people per day. And then the busier clinic is around 23 to 27 people per day. We've never had an average in the Poconos of over 30. And again, there are clinics there's one in the Lehigh Valley that has seen over 100 per day, and that's why the averages can really pop up high, because you'll have those kind of clinics. But when you're talking about less dense populations, such as the ones we've chosen here, you'll see generally around 20, but in the numbers between 20 and 26, 27 people per day.
In terms of the max amount of people that you can actually treat at the facility at one given time, give the board some understanding of examination rooms, the waiting room. What are we talking about in terms of total people that could be in there?
And interestingly, there's an emergency department in the Bronx. They have 19 beds and see 120,000 people per year. So it's really about efficiencies in that, how quickly you can get your team to run with what you have. Our clinic will have approximately 7 rooms. And so theoretically, if you just break down the math, yes, okay, 7 you would like to see 4 per hour. So, and for a 12-hour day. So theoretically, that you could see up to 40, 50, 60 people in a day, and that's why you have to plan. You expect the best, plan for the worst. So you want to see numbers. You'd like to see a day of 50 or 60 or 70. So you have to have that ability. Technically, many urgent cares do that with 3 or 4 rooms, because you just learn to be very efficient. They have a place, they go to triage here, they move to here, they do their procedure, et cetera, and then they come out. So we have 6 to 7 rooms, and I always plan for a flex room, which means I put a manager's office adjacent with plumbing next to the last room or the first room, so that can always potentially be a flex room or a conference room at the end. That's what I've done in all 3 of my other clinics, as I plan ahead. My background's also in engineering, so I always thought ahead. So once you put that there, you have the ability to flexibly move an extra room in. We've never done that because we run our patients very well and very efficiently. So again, we could see easily 50 or 60, and we've seen that in the Poconos in our busier clinic during ski season. We've seen a 50, 55 patient day, but the averages are never that.
And in terms of hours of operation, what's the anticipated?
12 hours a day, weekdays, and then as are the majority of urgent cares in the country, and then weekends, I've selected it to be, it's 8 to 8 for weekdays with the ability to move to 8 to 9. There's other ones there are urgent cares that do longer. I just don't think that's fair for staffing. So on weekends, I've started with 9 to 7, and that will those hours are flexible based on the demand and how it will develop in 6 month intervals. I reassess.
And do you find yourself busier times at one given point of the year, or is it a pretty steady?
Like emergency departments, urgent cares are so often busiest on Monday, like many places would be, and then everything after that, like emergency departments, there's a lot of variation to it, and there's also a cyclical and seasonal variation to it, and also dependent on whether that in the summertime there's a large camp population or sports population. In the Poconos, we have a lot of skiers, so we have a bimodal peak to our volume distribution. So we have your typical January, February, March, which is cold and flu season, which is where most urgent cares throughout the country live off of. They live off of those 3 months, and then the rest of the year sort of declines and stays low. In the Poconos, we have a different, because we have lots of camps, hundreds and hundreds of camps, and then the ski mountains, so we have a second peak. Here, we have yet to see how that summer population, because there are a lot of camps, there are a lot of places, sporting areas. So we'll see how that goes, but primarily you live off of January, February, March in the cold and flu season.
And back to the point of how many at one given time. You indicated you've got 6 examination rooms, potentially 7, and then you got a waiting area that can accommodate anywhere between, I believe, 5 and 6.
We'll have 20 seats.
20 seats total, but
plus there's a children's area with a special children's table and children's tiny chairs. But there's generally a capability of a room that always has. We've never had capacity in our waiting rooms at one time, but I plan for that. So we have a generally waiting room which has the capacity of anywhere between 20 and 25 people.
But on average, based on your experience at your other clinics, what do you see as
a busy
all rooms?
time?
Yeah, busy
a busy
time. How many
time
are
will
in
be
that
six patients walk in at the same time. That's really, I mean, I think we may have had a 7, but those are your, I mean, and that's really how the business is. It'll just come in spurts. It's rarely distributed so evenly throughout the day. But on our busiest times, we'll see 6, 7 people come in, except at the Poconos, where we have the ski season is open Saturday. I'm the medical director for the ski patrol, so we'll see a lot of people come in just because of the relationship we have. But other than that, it's generally we'll see 6, 7, 8 people at the most.
And the average period,
usually 2 or 3.
And the average period from check-in to check-out, what's a patient experiencing in terms of time?
Our service runs under an hour. Sometimes 30 minutes. Insurances make it more and more difficult to register nowadays because the insurances have gotten so complex. So it's rare that you'll be able to come in and out, unless you've been a prior patient and we already have your insurance. Then it can be you're in and out, depending on what you're here for, the physical in 12 minutes. But in general, it's between 30 minutes and an hour, our goal.
And obviously the urgent care, the nature of the urgent care is that they can't be done by appointment, but you indicated you're anticipating a primary care component
those
to this.
are the primary care will be done by appointment, and at its densest, the most I will allow is a 15-minute, because so many places do 4 and 5 minutes, and it's just, you cannot practice medicine like that. It's not a good way to practice medicine. When I interviewed for my first family practice job in 2002, they said, okay, your minimum is 38 people you have to see in your panel. By the way, you have 1 hour for lunch, but you're not going to take lunch because you have to see patients. And so when you do the math on that, and when you include the dictation or the electronic record that you have to document everything, it comes down to an average 4 minutes per patient, how primary care is nowadays. So ours will be set at 15 at the tightest.
Okay. I had nothing further at this time for Dr. Bromes.
Questions by the board?
Yeah, I have a couple.
Okay.
Are you familiar with other urgent care facilities in the area?
Absolutely.
Is there any standard or, I don't know what the right word is, but thoughts as to how many urgent cares there should be within a certain radius of each other?
There's no standard. There is a practical business thought process to it, many of which companies don't, and people don't, individuals don't necessarily follow. You'll see, I was at Penn State visiting the university yesterday for my son, and there was an urgent care on this side of State College, and 80 meters away there was another one. Both of them national, large ones. But what you'd like to see, if you put your business hat on for that thought, what you would like to see is an urgent care generally, and this is according to, again, the Urgent Care Association of America benchmarking studies. There's not many. Urgent care is sort of a newer child in this country. They had one peak in the 1980s, and it went away because HMOs required gatekeepers, and gatekeepers wouldn't allow people to go to urgent cares. So the urgent cares died in the 80s. The second peak occurred about 18 to 20 years ago, and that's the one that's currently gotten much larger. That information has just started to become standardized into all these databases, relatively new. So the UCAOA is this organization, the only one for urgent cares really, that is putting this information together. So what they basically say is 16 to 18,000 people for an urgent care. The highest you'll see is generally 30,000 for the really high end. The city MDs in Manhattan, you'll see 30, 40,000. But generally 16 to 18,000. And depending on the population that you are targeting, it may be a 1 mile radius or a 15-minute drive. For example, in the Poconos, my goal was a 15-minute drive because we're semi-rural out there. In this area here, you'd want to see a 3 to a 5 mile radius. That's the catchment area you'd like, and 16 to 18,000 people that you could theoretically have as patients. In the 5 mile radius of here, you have the hospital, Atlantic Care just put one up in their multi-specialty building, which is also, that's a hospital way of doing urgent cares. A lot of urgent cares are owned by hospitals. And what you'll see is they'll put them, they don't think with the hat of a realtor, location, location, location. They'll think with the hat of a corporation. Hospitals do that because they don't want to put it here because they already have a building they'll put here. So that building has their cardiologist, their urologist, their multi-specialties, so that's where they put their urgent cares. A lot of patients don't like to go to that because what they want to do is they want to do their shopping, they want to go get everything done in one place, and that's where a lot of the individual owned urgent cares are, as opposed to the hospital owned urgent cares. So you have Atlantic Care that put one up the road at 2.1 miles, but if you drive by it, it's hard to see it. And it's also, you have to go park in the parking lot for the multi-specialty clinic and then walk in, go far to the left and then in. So that's one competitor. Across the street is another urgent care that has been there for quite a while. And
Across the street where?
Mountain Lakes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, been there a long time. I'm not sure if you've been there. I have been many a time. So it's also an older style, definitely not a modern one. And then up the road on the opposite direction at 2 miles is Concentra. Concentra is the largest urgent care supplier in the country because at just under 350 sites. Very large corporate business, and that's because their exclusive format business product wasn't urgent care, it was occupational medicine. They had them everywhere, in industrial sites and in trucking facilities and in this facility. So a lot of their places were tucked away all these different locations so they could do drug screens and workers' comp. And then about a dozen years ago, when urgent care started to become big, their ownership decided we're going to start to jump on this, and they started to transfer a lot of their clinics into urgent cares. So some of them are very nice. This one here is very nice. It's 2 miles up the road. It's very nice because it's a purpose-built urgent care, as opposed to a lot of the other ones, which were just places that were corporate and then moved over to the.
What about the
Excuse me, Bernie, before we go any further. Mr. O'Neill, I don't think we're going to get to your case at this point, based on the way we're going to go probably past 10 o'clock with this application.
I understand, Mr. Chairman.
I'm sorry if we made you wait around this all night.
It's something you could not foresee. My client, though, is under leasing pressure, so we would appreciate the earliest possible day.
Can we get them on the next meeting? How much time do you think you're going to need?
Probably about an hour.
About an hour? Do you have like engineers, planners, or what do you?
I have the operator, I have an architect.
I don't think we can get them on the next one. We're pretty booked through the end of the year unless you're willing to do a special meeting for them.
And when would that special meeting be, Nora?
You know, it's hard for me to say. I have to be able to request.
Well,
Council Chambers here. We could try
well-
picking a Wednesday.
What week is League of Municipalities?
I think,
18th?
yeah.
Is anybody from the
19th.
board going to League of Municipalities?
I am.
And my
The 20th would be
I
the
am.
date.
I think I'm back Wednesday night.
Two of you are going to the League?
Yeah, and I'm not coming back Wednesday night.
I won't be back.
You won't be back
time.
either?
I'm going.
Following week is not Thanksgiving, right? Or is it?
It is.
It is.
Following week is?
Well, perhaps maybe we could request it to carry to the next meeting and the schedule could be
Yes.
sorted out at that time.
Okay.
I'll make an
Perfect.
appearance at the next meeting.
Okay.
Adjourn as necessary.
Okay. I'm sorry, there were just too many cases tonight, and when residentials go a long way, it really screws things up. Motion to carry case 1950 to November what?
20th?
Second, I believe.
November 2nd.
Oh, November
Is it?
November
No.
6th.
November
Sixth.
6th?
Yeah, I'm sorry, yeah, you're
November
right.
6th, without further notice and
Grant all necessary extensions.
extensions.
Yeah.
Okay, okay, thank you. Again, my
Thank you,
apologies.
I mean, so moved.
So move.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay.
Thank you. Sorry,
All right.
folks. Did that make me forget all my question?
Now you forgot your question?
No, I think.
Sign of old age there, Bernie.
Volume, what an urgent care, about 16 to 18,000.
Yeah, well, I may, do you have, do the urgent care facilities have affiliations with hospitals?
No.
And does the location of hospitals affect where you put your urgent cares?
Absolutely. Most urgent cares prefer to put it within a several mile radius of a hospital. And the reason is, it's definitely nice to be able to go, okay, you're going to this place. In the Poconos, we set ours up the same way, like many urgent cares do. But it's also, it's a smart marketing concept. When a person is driving to the hospital, they see that urgent care. It registers, and they won't need it until they're sick. Now they're sick, their son is sick, their child is sick, et cetera, and it's registered in their mind. So you get an imprint whenever you drive to the urgent care. And so that's a very common modality for many urgent cares, to be near a hospital.
I just remembered my other question. The marketing, whatever it is that CVS has been trying to do with the.
Mini clinics.
Their mini clinics, does that
Yes.
affect you or
In the
have any
Poconos-
comparison or?
Yeah, in the
The reference
Poconos,
to the Poconos is so different than this
Yeah,
area, to
let's
me, I'm
keep it
sorry.
focused to here.
I mean, I can't.
no, I was just saying, because this is in direct reference to what you were saying.
Because we have two CVS's in town.
Exactly. They had two retail clinics of such nature. Geisinger had them on each side of us. And then within 2 years, they were gone. And the reason is, the retail medicine is a format that the pharmacies and many malls and shopping malls have promulgated for years. But the type of medicine you get there is a very quick, fast, in and out, generally get an antibiotic, and not a lot of great care. And that's why both of those centers, which were there before I existed, we were the first urgent care, but they had retail medicine already set up. But they failed, because you just can't go in there and have great medical care. I've seen it too many times. I hired practitioners from there, and they were frustrated because they're given a 80 square foot or a 60 square foot or et cetera, a very small box of which they can operate, and that's it. And there's not a lot they can do. And there's not a lot of experience in them. In the practitioners often is the case. And what they're allowed to do is very little. So it ends up being, you come in with the cough, you get an antibiotic. And that's a deadly thing. I've seen more than 100 people die with that concept as an emergency physician. So, and it frustrated the heck out of me. That's why I opened up my first urgent care, because I just saw so much bad medicine out there, and I saw so many people die from that concept. So the retail medicine is profitable for them, and many of them are failing, because once the patients realize this is all I get, then they stop going.
But how does that pertain to this application?
Yeah.
We're focusing on, we seem to be
Well, he
talking
asked the question about the
a
retail
lot
medicine.
of things. Let's focus on this.
Well, I was just
Honestly, you're
answering the
losing me.
question.
Yeah, but, I was listening to your testimony, and it kind of contradicted itself. At first, you're saying that people are rushing to go to urgent care, and then you're saying they're kind of consolidating it with their shopping needs, and I'm just,
No, that's
what,
the location.
what is it? Either
when,
or.
When you choose a location, the hospitals often that choose their multi-specialty clinics. That's where they put their urgent cares. Then when I choose a location, as many individual, even the large chains that aren't owned by hospitals, they'll choose this place more generally in the shopping areas, in places that are higher volume, have more traffic counts, and have shopping strips, for example.
Okay, thank you.
Where's your Bridgewater clinical?
It's in the new Chimney Rock Shopping Center where Whole Foods is.
So on your testimony, so the urgent care I understand, and then how many physicians do you plan on having on staff?
We staff both physicians, mid-level practitioners, so the physician assistants and nurse practitioners. One provider per day until the volume, and this is a national standard for most urgent cares, until you get to about 35. A lot of the larger ones use 50. I think that's
So
too busy.
I understand the urgent care issue, but I think your testimony is talking about ongoing primary care provider. So you're looking to provide ongoing primary care.
Yes, that'll be one provider per day whenever the matrix is fully staffed for patients. Because whenever you start a primary care office, you start with small numbers, 2 or 3 or 4 people, and then they start to...
And that's your goal, to grow your primary care business.
Both sides, yes. So we want to have both urgent care and primary care.
Any other questions by the board?
Thank you.
Any members of the public have any questions of this witness on the testimony given? I hear none, see none. Call your next witness.
Yes, Mr. Keller. Mr. Keller, I noticed you put a board up. Could you explain to the board what exactly that is?
I should mark that
Yep.
A1 with today's date. It's entitled Site Plan Prepared by Arna Engineering, Waterview Marketplace, sheet CS-101. It is last revised August 14th of 2019. And I've highlighted the urgent care tenant space, which is on the end cap closest to Waterview Boulevard. We've also highlighted the one pylon sign at the intersection of Waterview Boulevard and the site driveway. The first thing I want to talk about, I'm going to put my engineer's hat on first. We need a parking variance because the township code, the retail space requires 17 parking spaces at 1 per 250. Changing this to a medical use, which is the most appropriate use within your code, requires 28 parking spaces. So that's an 11 space increase over what was approved. There's a requirement of 678 parking spaces that were calculated when we came in for Shake Shack. That was before the planning board. So with this increase, we need 689 parking spaces. 678 plus 11 gets us to 689. We have 684 spaces on site today. So we're 5 short. Now 5 parking spaces out of almost 700 spaces is de minimis. You also heard
Less
the
than
doctor
1%.
say,
Less than 1%.
yes, sir. You also heard the doctor say that at most, full staff of doctors, nurses, so on, and patients, they need 13 to 15 parking spaces, which is less than what the retail parking requirement would be. So your code says we need a parking variance practice will show that we don't. The other is that his busy time is gonna be January to March, which in this shopping center with the tenant mix is going to be the least active time of the year. That's from ITE data that shows that those are lower times for shopping centers. So that's, there's plenty of parking available within the site. The uses are of a varied nature, and there's no detriment to the zone plan or the zoning ordinance or to surrounding areas because it's a self-contained shopping center.
Excuse me one second. John, do you see any problem with that?
Okay.
On the use thing, it's, one, it's late, but two, the agreement of this applicant with the council to authorize this use, from a common sense standpoint, means they made a zoning change.
Sure seems like that.
So, technically, it has to come here, because they chose not to do a zone ordinance amendment. And I understand why, because the time frame drags it out probably into next year.
Right.
And then they gotta start all over again, because they got a new electorate. So this was the quickest way through the process.
Correct.
But if the board agrees that effectively it's a technical variance as opposed to what we normally have where tons of proofs are necessary, we can probably move along pretty quick.
Yes, I'm doing my best to be brief. I have another exhibit. This would be A2.
Thank you.
Just for the record, Mr. Keller, one of the comments that was in the review letters dealt with signage. So we wanted to provide the board with signage information, what it would look like, and what's permitted under the code. So
you need a variance for this stuff?
no, we don't believe we need a variance for that.
Not for the MedFirst urgent care. That's going to be 45 square feet. The unit is 30 feet wide at 1.5 square feet per linear foot of frontage allows us 45 square feet. And we will comply with that. The original approval also had, and I'm not gonna give you another exhibit. As you can see, the sign on exhibit A2 is, I'll call it on the parking lot side of the facade. The original approval also had a sign panel on the east facade that faces Waterview Boulevard. That sign will also be 45 square feet in area. We're allowed total 150 square feet maximum for a tenant space. The side wall of that would allow 150 square foot sign. We're gonna ask for 45 on that. That sign panel was approved as part of the original application, since it's an end cap. What we're asking for on Exhibit A2 is the window band. I've been here before to talk to you about window signs. Now, this particular band is only 18.3% of the area of the window, but it is permanent. The purpose of this, it is 22 inches in height, and the windows are 21 feet across. That is placed at a height where when a patient is sitting in the waiting room, that band is at head height. And it's 22 inches so that it covers somebody my height and somebody smaller. But it is permanent and is for patient privacy. It's not visible from anywhere except if you're standing in front of that building. It does not wrap around the corner because that's not a patient, that's not the waiting area. This is only in the front and it's for patient privacy. This is something that the doctor feels is important in his facilities. So that's,
If the color band was up there without the words, it wouldn't be a sign, would it? There would be decoration on the doors.
Yes,
So all you're asking for is those few little words going across it.
correct. And the colors,
Why do you, they have all those crazy regs on temporary signs, but why isn't this a facade sign?
the because it's in the window.
So what?
Okay. Well, then I need a variance for the square footage of sign. Because this is, hold on. 38.5 square feet.
Plus 45.
Plus 45, so 38.
83.
83, thank you, sir.
Then you get 1.5 for 45,
Right.
you're over. Okay.
Right, so we're over.
All right, we'll call it temporary. Good.
So, however you want to do it. Now, so that's the sign variance. The use variance, quote unquote, is because when the RC zone was adopted as part of the settlement agreement, while it was for retail and services, it didn't list medical or urgent care as a permitted use. You've heard from the doctor, you've heard his operations. The medical, this type of medical practice is finding its way into shopping centers. We talked about Cacentra, that's down at Baldwin Road. There's a Med Express and a shopping center 2 minutes down the street from my office in Cedar Knolls. There's another Med Express on 46 in Rockaway in a shopping center. They put them in shopping centers because people are going there for shopping experiences. It is a centralized location. While urgent care medical use is not an inherently beneficial use, it is beneficial and supports the public health and general welfare of the community by providing a necessary service. The council has consented to us filing this application, and if you want to consider that as a de facto zone change, then you may consider it that way. This satisfies under special reasons, because we are talking about a D variance and a D1 variance. It satisfies two purposes of planning. You know, the general encouraging municipal action, as well as purpose G of providing a sufficient space for a variety of different uses. Again, it's a beneficial use. The space is available and appropriately located for this type of use. And this use creates no environmental issues or any hazards to the general public. It is not creating a traffic issue. I'm getting ahead of myself. I'm trying to, particular suitability, the size and location within an existing retail center, and that there is sufficient on-site parking. Negative criteria, because we have to say what are the potential impacts of this. In our opinion, there are none. It serves the public good. There's no increase in impervious coverage. It's taking up space within the building that was going to be used anyhow. It's less traffic because it's a less intense use. All of the activities are indoors. As I testified, there's enough parking. You know, it's consistent. This use is permitted in other highway commercial zones and many zones within Parsippany. So in hindsight, it should have been included with this, but it was not, and the council, I think, agreed with that.
Were
So-
there things that were excluded, that were not allowed to be there?
Yeah. Anything not expressly permitted in the zone was by definition prohibited.
Okay.
And
So-
the zoning was very specific in terms of, it literally had building sizes. It's a very strange zone because it originated from that settlement. It had square footages, it said retail only. The preamble said retail and services, but the services never made its way into the code.
And we know that was just not on purpose? You know what I'm getting at?
Yeah, no, we have the purpose statement, and the purpose statement says the provision of goods and services for residents of Parsippany Troy Hills. Then it goes on to list the permitted uses, and it has very few. It talks about retail, and if you look in the code, retail, they have a specific definition for these uses. Retail doesn't fit. Banks was an original, that eventually became the Shake Shack.
Right.
Because the original concept had a bank that was abandoned and the Shake Shack took its place. And that's it.
Okay.
Those are the only uses articulated.
Right.
Sorry, I didn't mean to.
No, I think I've covered, all of the points necessary. I'm happy to answer any questions that the board may have.
Just one or two. So looking at the drawing and the parking areas, I see that. And then to get to the units up there, they have to go up. How many stairs is that?
You just have to step up from the parking lot onto the curb and into the building. There are no stairs.
There's no stairs.
No, sir.
It's a walkway.
That's it. Okay, that's the process. So I'm going back to the urgent care. A parent has a kid hurt or whatever, they're gonna drive right up in front and drop the kid off. That's what I would wanna do anyway. There's no problem doing that, right?
Well, the drive aisle is 30 feet wide.
Right.
So if you say a car was parked there, you can still get two-way traffic. Now, it's also at the end of
I'm
the
not saying to
shopping
park there,
center.
I'm saying just to drop off.
Yeah.
Okay, got it.
So if somebody chose to do that, there would not be a traffic impediment.
Any other questions? Any members of the public have any questions of this witness and the testimony given? I hear none, see none. Any more witnesses?
No further witnesses, Mr. Chairman.
I want to hold off some and I don't know, is anybody from the public here to speak in his opposition or in support of this application? I hear none, see none. You want to make a brief statement?
Just very briefly, as we've indicated and suggested, had the council decided to not allow us to be here, they could have prevented us from being here by simply not agreeing to our application. So they did that. Again, it's not a zone change, but I think it's a fair characterization. Mr. Chadwick indicated it's somewhat of a de facto zone change. So for those reasons, as well as those expressed by Mr. Keller, we think the application advances has demonstrated the positive criteria. We don't see any negative criteria for the application. We would ask that the board approve it, along with the C variances noted, that being for parking and the temporary signage becoming permanent along the window.
Do we need to go into conference or can we just go to a vote? Okay, somebody might make a recommendation then so we can move forward?
Yeah, I think it is beneficial use to the community. It's in an area where it won't affect any private homes or anything, and there's plenty of commerce going on, and I am going to be voting for it.
Someone frame a resolution? Somebody, come on.
Application, sorry.
Can we speak up, or you want me to do it?
You better open up shop right away.
Application 19:46, RD Realty, 30 Waterview Boulevard, Block 421, Lot 29.03, Zone R-C, to grant or issue D variance for an urgent care facility with all the discussions we made in according.
Second, Jaskowitz.
Any discussion? Nora, call the roll.
Mr. Berkowitz.
Yes.
Mr. Jaskowitz.
Yep.
Mr. Prasad.
Yep.
Mr. Reddy.
Yes.
Ms. Snyder.
Yes.
Mr. Willand.
Yep.
Chairman Irakane.
Yes. Result is the variances are granted. Good luck.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you. Have a good night.
Hope we don't ever have to see you, but. Right? I don't want to go see them.
Move to adjourn.
But it's nice to know they're there if I need to.
Yes.
We'll move to adjourning.
I've had good experiences and bad experiences with Concentra. Concentra has been right on.
We are dismissed, Chairman.
But a couple of times I've done, just for emergencies, a couple of times I've done that, they didn't have any help.
Have a good night.
I go to, well, the guy's on his way, I'll be in at 9:30.
Did we
I'm
adjourn?
sitting there at 8 o'clock in the morning. Well, we'll call you when he comes in.
I've never
I call
been
my,
there.
I call my primary. Good night, good night.
Good night. Laura, thank you so much.
Nora, there was a motion to adjourn, you just didn't hear it.
Oh, Jesus, silent motion.
Take care, good
Oh,
luck.
good luck. Good luck.
Welcome to town.
How complicated is the cozy day spot?
Not complicated at all, I don't think.
An application, he's got an hour. He said,
Yeah. I don't think it's that
be ashamed to
complicated.
call a special meeting or something like this, you know?